Yo, yo, yo.
Hello.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Heelanhammer. On today's show, we take a look at the European Team Championships in all its glory. We hear from gamers from all over the world and generally chat about what happened during this wonderful time of year. Hello, everybody. How's it going, Wayne?
Very well.
Yeah.
I love it when you do. There's this bit where, obviously, where we got the fillers, if you like, and then you kind of nods his head to a rhythm, like he's counting in his head, working out when the gap's going to be, and then he carries on like nothing's happened.
I'll tell you what, when you mentioned nodding, I watched myself back on YouTube, so I did a few interviews at the ETC with the guys on the Bad Dice podcast, and I realised how much I twitch.
You twitch, you do twitch loads.
And I just didn't notice it. I was watching him in the video, and I'm just nodding, scratching, whatever. It's like, it's a Tourette's or something. I need to sort it out. I was conscious, I was talking to a client today, and I was trying to sit as still as possible and just nod every few seconds. I was like, I am some weird twitchy man, so there you go. And also, don't look good on camera. There we go. Voice for radio. That's what. Stick to this, I think.
A face only his mother could love.
Indeed. So I'm back from ETC. Many of you will have followed it on Twitter, and as I say, there's some great YouTube coverage, and the organisers themselves had a full-on media place to go. So this show's all about the ETC. We've obviously had some massive news this week. That's right. The Lizard Men, they're here. You're excited about this, Wayne, as well, aren't you?
I am actually, yeah. I've had previous books, but never really sort of got into it. I did a bit of speed painting on them a while ago, but I really like the new book.
Yeah.
I've read it cover to cover now, and I like it a lot. It's good.
Well, we're going to have a full chat about this in the next episode. We might even get a guest on to just chat about all our initial thoughts of the Lizard Man book. I will have had a game by then. You may have even had a game by then. It'll be good to have a chat about. But this one's all about the ETC, and I've got interviews from people that I did on site mixed in with our little chat about it. So, but before we get into those interviews, I'm going to play you some that give you some insight into the preparation, the approach of some teams, some of the army selection thoughts, and just generally some early impressions of the event. And then we're going to have a bit of chat about the event from my point of view, and then play you out with sort of some reviews, if you like, from people we spoke to after the event. So what is the ETC, first off? If you haven't heard of it, you've probably been living in a box, but it's the European Team Championships. It's kind of the World Cup of Warhammer. There's 32 countries. It's teams of 8 people who attend a place every year to compete against each other for the trophy. Now, it's voted a little bit like the Olympics, so somebody puts a bid through and then it gets voted by all the team captains, and it's there. Quite a complicated process, really. As you can imagine, for an event this size, it doesn't just hold Warhammer Fantasy. You've got the 32 countries in Fantasy, but you also have some in Warhammer 40,000, and Flames of War now is officially part of it. So you're looking at 700 to 1,000 wargamers in one place. So it's quite a hefty thing to organise. And this year it was in Serbia, of all places, which we'll talk about some preconceptions that I had of how that was and how that actually turned out later. But that's where it was this year. The composition system itself is 6 games, and it's the 20-0 scoring system. So 20 is a big win and 0 is a loss. And the composition system and restrictions that were applied to the event are all available on the Warhammer forum under the European Team Championships section. Now, they're too long to read out, but let's just say there was some reasonably hefty restrictions involved on the lists. It's 8 players a team, as I've said, and it's 8 unique 2,400 point armies. So you can only have 1 vampire army, 1 dark elf army, etc. And the way that the games are decided in terms of who plays who is you've got like this mini card game that goes on before the event, what they call the matchup process, or the matchups. You hear it referred to probably in some of the interviews, and that involves the team captains and their compadres basically trying to outfox the other person and gain good matchups. Now, quite often you have to buy bad matchups with or give bad matchups to get good ones, and there's a whole massive amount of preparation and sort of practice that goes into this part, and it's a key success of the ETC. But it's kind of a mini game in itself, and then you get these. At the end of that process, you've got 8 players playing 8 players, and they go and game on the tables, and that's where you get your results from. So that's generally the how it all works. So I'm going to play you some interviews now, and you can have a listen to what some of the guys thought and what was happening early on, and then we'll get into the story from my point of view. Hello, everybody, and welcome to some more ETC coverage. I'm here with a well-known name from Gareth from the Bad Dice Podcast. How you doing?
Well, hello. It seems like I've jumped ship for the time being and joined the dark side.
Exactly. Ben's been on here enough. It's okay. It's all right.
Oh, am I allowed?
That's right. You're allowed. He'll be fine. He doesn't know about it, but he'll be fine. So, ETC 2013, we're here in the hall in Serbia. How have you found it so far?
Hot. absolutely hot. I'm not used to these humid conditions, and I wonder how that is going to affect gameplay, honestly, because at the moment it's really, really cool in here, but I would say it's about 2/3 empty at the moment, when there's lots of large people, onlookers, people coming to visit, playing, tensions. What's it going to be like?
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm a bit worried. I mean, it's 40 odd degrees outside, isn't it? And when you walk in here, it feels like an ice box. But once you're sitting in here, you start to get warm again, don't you? Yeah. So I don't know how that's going to go. I think it's going to, temperatures might rise a bit. I think it's going to be interesting.
I think so. I mean, but the people that I've gone and seen so far, they all seem really, really friendly and really, really up for this. And that is the thing that surprised me about last year, is I didn't see too many, inverted commas, gamey people.
Yeah.
I know that happens, and I know that there are some people that take the rules with a pinch of salt.
Yeah.
But maybe we're not going to get that this year, because it is, hot, chilled. It's like a holiday.
Yeah.
Ben was classing it as a holiday.
Yeah.
I don't class it as a holiday because I'm here working.
No, I mean I semi-class it as a holiday. I mean, it's fairly serious as far as gaming goes, but it is still time away from the missus and the kids, so they all count at this stage. What do you think about the venue as a whole?
I really like it, and I really like. There's lots of things I really like. I'll just go through them. I like the fact that people have really put care into this. They're very welcoming. It's not a purpose-built venue, as in, it's not gaming tables that you see at like the old Maelstrom Games or Warhammer World. It is tables with wood on top, which is absolutely fine, because we see that a lot in our country. But there's just so much space here.
Yeah, there is.
It's not cramped. At the moment, it's quite cool, which is great, and there's a lot of attention to detail, not only in the packs that you're going to be getting. But I don't know if you've seen them. Have you your captain's packs?
Yet. No.
No, well, I've seen those already. Your little captain's packs tomorrow. The fact that they're doing coverage themselves and videos, very welcoming of me and supportive of me to do coverage. It seems like it's been planned, and I'm not trying to be bitchy to any of the previous years people that have organised it, but this year seems to be planned and thought out, and I like that.
Yeah.
So venue gets a tick from me, the organisers get a tick from me, let's hope the games get a tick from me.
Definitely. I mean, I agree with you. This is for me, I know we're sitting here Thursday morning, and for me this is the best I've seen a ETC organised from a professional outlook. I mean, the guys are all here. They've got things like little touches, like they've all got matching shirts, haven't they?
Yeah. They're colour coded.
There was an ETC person at the airport that stopped us getting ripped off by the taxi drivers the minute we got here. So it's all these kind of little bits. There's a guy there's a security guard, and they said they'd provide security, and he is donned in full sort of samurai armour with two swords, and he gets up every time someone walks through that door without a pass, doesn't he?
Is he actually security?
He's actually a security guard. There's another guy.
I just thought he was a sexy guy sitting there with armour on. I didn't know he had a job.
Yeah, no, that is his job. I mean, you watch him every time. He did it to us this morning. We walked through the door and he comes straight up and he's like, yes. We're like, remember us from yesterday, dude? Hey, it's us. And he's like, pass? We're like, no. So yeah,
absolutely.
He's here for security reasons.
We had a similar story. After we saw you this morning, we went and asked the girl at the information desk the best place to go and get breakfast. We went, 20 minutes, came back in. She said, do you have any passes? You just spoke to us. You literally just spoke to us.
Yeah.
But that's fine. There's an awful lot of faces here, and I'd say that everybody kind of blurs into one, I suppose, when you're sitting there.
Now, I suppose from both ways we can look at this. For me, I like what they've done as well with they've got, it's all kind of, some people are dressed almost like live role players, aren't they?
Yeah.
The bar, for example, has got barmaids in it who are dressed in not a lot, serving food in sort of like maiden outfits, which is all good fun. And then you've got, I don't know, it's just good, isn't it, really?
I like that. They've got a couple of little tents up, which are right. Is a little bit like live role playing. People dressed up as well. It's because it's been planned.
Yeah.
We've got stalls and what I can only describe as a little car boot sale. Is it over?
Yeah, that's
over
right.
there. It's that is quite bizarre.
They've got a military outlet store, which is quite funny. Yeah.
Absolutely, but there's 40k going on here. There's Flames of War. There's lots of other things. Singles events are going on today and yesterday. So there's lots of events going on. And it seems like, and again, I'm not being directly bitchy to any previous organisers, that the money that they've got in from the ticket sales and sponsorship deals, they've spent here.
Yeah.
You can see. I like it.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to lead to a great event.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, just the singles event looks good. They've got 3 monitors around the little station set up, which have got time remaining in the round on. The PA seems, well, I wouldn't say it's clear, but it's there. I mean, this hall is massive that we're sitting in. It's like an empty warehouse, isn't it?
And the sound reverberates. So actually, it might not be their issue. It might just be the fact that there is so much.
The only complaint I have so far about the whole thing is that the toilets aren't great. But I mean, if that's all you got to worry about,
I haven't even been.
No,
they not?
They haven't got locks on the doors. They put wire on them, so you have to tie a wire around a screw, which isn't exactly what I'd call ultra secure. But that's my only thing. But apart from that, there might be another set that we don't know about, but they are the one that's next to this. So.
Just pee outside, because I think it will evaporate before the police come and see that it's there.
Probably would. It is proper hot. For people like me who've got lily white, borderline, what I call ginger skin, it's...
you have with your freckles. Your freckles have really come out in your arms.
Yeah, they just fly out. So I try and avoid staying outside. I know some of the guys who gone to the beach this morning. I was at Asakav. I wanted to die of heat exposure. I could do that at home.
Yeah, I've heard there's a beach. Is it an actual beach?
I think so, yeah. Well, I don't know. Well, I don't really know. I think our team are convinced it is, so we'll find out.
We'll find out when they come back. Location, Novi Sad. What do you think? Do you think it's the right place for this to be?
I don't feel unsafe. I'd say it's. I mean, this is as far east as I've been, so I'm not sure if this is kind of a normal thing. But there's a lot of like rundown areas surrounding us, empty warehouses, massive spaces that you just wouldn't see in England, and I think in some places of Europe. And it seems odd to me. And that normally, for me, sort of, if you find that in England, they're normally a place you wouldn't want to be hanging around.
Exactly.
And that I get that feeling outside. But then when you come in, the people are here, and the organisers are really friendly. But yeah. Location, it was a bit of a nightmare to get here. We had to do 2 connecting flights and things, but if we booked earlier we might not have had to. And it's kind of an ETC tradition to be nowhere near the airport, so I think Germany's the best place for that. Yeah, but the event's grown. I'm not even sure Germany can hold it where they did before now with the game systems and the amount of teams we've got participating. So
well, you could just get rid of all the non-important games like
Flames of War.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going on for 40k as well, yeah.
Yeah,
just have Warhammer Fantasy, because that's all that people really care about.
Yeah, certainly on who are listening to this anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good spectacle. I'm not sure that the amount of people makes it that special or not. I think it's just the fact you get so many people come in from different cultures for the same thing.
Absolutely.
It's all good. I mean, we've met quite a few people we've seen over the last couple of years. People who have been to England to play tournaments and all come up and seen us. So you do get like an extended set of wargaming friends that you don't normally see.
Yeah, world friends for life.
Yeah, exactly.
And I've been recognised by people that I'd never met before as well, been pounced on. So that's really, really nice.
Yeah.
And that was one of the big things for the Adepticon that made me feel so welcome, because people purposely came up to talk, and that's happening again here.
Yeah.
So going outside, don't feel as safe. Inside, I feel like I'm in my own Warhammer type bubble.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's good. We haven't had any food yet, part of the venue. What do you think that's going to be like? Because that's always an interesting one.
I don't really know. I mean, the local stalls where we've eaten recently, the food seems pretty okay. They've got pizza and kebabs, which we as English people eat quite a lot of, so it's fine.
Yeah.
The breakfast this morning in the hotel was somewhat ropey, but you can get that in England. So,
you can.
But yeah, I honestly don't know how that's going to go with that. What about you? Got any preconceptions?
No, not really, because so much time and dedication has gone into it. I think it's going to be nice, but I think it's going to be to a basic standard.
Yeah.
And the reason why I'm bringing this up is not just because all I think about is food. Is if you have a lot of stodge, that affects your body, and that can affect the way you play. That can affect your mood swings as well.
Yeah.
And also, because it's so hot here, if you're not drinking enough water, and I'm talking about water and not alcohol, to absorb in your body, that can affect you as well. You can feel tired, you can feel lethargic, and that could cost people games.
And also, I think even more importantly, it affects the atmosphere of the game. I certainly am well aware of my own thing, that when I get tired and or drinking whatever and it's hot, I can go downhill in terms of my outlook towards the game.
Yeah.
So I think it's an interesting point. Yesterday I found with the heat though, I hardly ate anything. I had 2 slices of pizza and a bit of something on the plane, and some porridge at the airport, and that was about it all day. So
I just was constantly eating throughout the day. Absolutely constantly eating, and I don't like that, because I want to keep my nice slim. I don't want to add to the Team England, girth.
Wide set of players. Yeah,
absolutely. One year I am going to weigh all of this to find out what the combined weight is.
Yeah,
so I think that'll be fascinating.
I think our current team selection is pretty much heavyweight, so on and off the gaming table.
But I think we should get an extra 20 points just if we've got the heaviest team.
Yeah,
because that's got to add something, surely.
Yeah, definitely.
And we're English and British. Sorry, not English, and Warhammer started in England, so we should get extra points for that. So in theory, we should always just walk away with the podium place, whatever we do.
I would hope so. It suits me. I'm good with that deal. Cool. Well, have you got any other thoughts you want to talk about while we're here?
I'm really looking forward to seeing the Ashes later on, which is obviously England with Australia. I'm also looking forward to seeing how the what is it? Is it a get-together shindig?
There's like a little party thing tomorrow night. Yeah, an organised meal. Yeah, that's probably the best way. Yeah,
and I know there was something like that last year at the ETC, but I didn't really know much about it.
No, I think the other problem it had was it too far away last year. I think they've organised it a lot closer. Last year it was quite a journey and you weren't sure if you get transport back, but I think the organisers are sorting it all out this year. So, I mean, they've been really organised with that. I mean, last year you took the coaches from the transports from the airport to the thing, and it was a bit of a nightmare, took hours. This one seems fairly direct and organised. So, a lot of real positives, I think, for this year.
Good.
And hopefully it sets a standard, because if this, I mean, we're only talking a few our early experiences of the tournament, but if it carries on like this, I can see people having a lot of good things to say, and hopefully sets a standard for better ETCs in the future, because some of them, sometimes it surprises me how they actually run. So as a tournament organiser myself, I know it's a different scale, but
I want one in our country. I want to do ETC. I know it's an expensive thing, but I just think that would be brilliant. I can host my own media centre there, and people will be coming to me and I'll be showing them around. I would love that.
Yeah, it would be good.
So come on, let's put in a bid.
Well, there's a few people in England that have wanted to set this up, and they're looking at this thinking they don't think they could set something up that is as good as this. I mean, mainly because of you look at the support they've got here from other people. In England, I don't think you have that many people willing to do as much for free or whatever as you have in this setup. There's 30 odd supporting staff here, I think.
But I think stuff like that should be budgeted into the ticket price. This isn't a money making thing. It should the cost should come in and the cost should go out, so you pay for stuff like that.
Well, I think UK tournaments should do it. I mean, many do. I mean, we do it at the South Coast.
Of course you do.
We pay our people to be there, because at the end of the day, I don't think English people are that keen to volunteer their time unless they have to. So that's just I don't know if it's a cultural thing or the way it goes, and I'm the same. I wouldn't want to necessarily.
I don't generally like doing stuff for free, which is why, by the way, the fee for this interview is £100.
Cool. I'll speak
to my agent.
Yeah. Good. Good. Well, okay. Well, thanks for our initial thoughts. I think.
Pleasure.
I'm looking forward to this. I think it's going to be good. I just hope it is as good on the gaming tables as it is off the gaming tables. So.
I hope so too, because I do think you've got a strong team. But are we going to repeat the success of last year? Who knows? Fingers crossed. But I want you to do better. But who knows?
Yeah. Well,
if you do any worse, I'll slap you.
Indeed, and we deserve it. Cool. Cheers for talking to us, mate. I'm sure I'll catch up with you later in the day.
Yes.
Cheers.
Mate.
Hello everybody, and welcome to another little tidbit from the ETC. I'm here with another member of the Bad Dice podcast. I'm racking them up. We might even have the third one on later. Mr. Mark Wildman, how's it going?
Hello.
Cool. So you're out here as coach, assistant to the team, whatever you want to call it. You looking forward to it?
Yeah, definitely. It's good to be out here. I'm really looking forward to sort of working with the team and just sort of trying to input. I think the role is really important. I think both times Brian's been here for the past 2 years, all you guys have come back saying how vital it's been.
Yeah.
And chatting with other people who haven't had a coach previous years, they've gone, we really wish we had a coach. So
good. It's
kind of difficult for me because I love playing the game, and it's like looking at it going, really want to play the game. And I'm trying to get a pickup game, but at times it's just not working.
No.
But at the same time, I've just got to see the importance of what I'm doing.
Definitely.
It's a team game, Dan.
It's a team
game.
Now, let's touch on that first before we talk about this as ETC as a whole. A few people might think you're mad, spending hundreds of pounds to come out and to not play. But as you were saying, you view it as quite an important role. I know we do as players in the team.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. Given the choice, I think I'd definitely prefer to play if I was given that choice. But at the same time, there's a social aspect to this event, not just the gaming as well. So if I was on my own and I didn't really know the team I was working with, I probably wouldn't be here. But it's because I'm with you guys, know all you guys, want to help you guys out, and there is the added social side of it. Would I come if it was just 6 games on its own and then we all went to bed at 8 o'clock for some beauty sleep or whatever? Probably wouldn't come.
No.
But the social side to it is really important to me. But helping out with the team is equally as important. And it's good because it gives me a role. Because if I came out here and was just watching games, I think I'd probably get a bit bored. But I really enjoy sort of being part of the team and being sort of seen as good for that team.
Yeah, good. Good. I mean, we obviously view it as an important role, and until you've played in these kind of events, I don't think you appreciate how good it is just to have a night, somebody not playing around. Little things, even if you just want to drink. Sometimes time constraints and everything else mean that you just don't have the time, and it's having someone else to help you. So.
Having experience with an army like Orc and Goblins, where you've got 101 stupidity test, animosity roll for every single turn, you've got so many units you have to move, so many things you've got to do. You may seem like you're playing slow, but you've got so much to do. Getting in the queue for 10 minutes for a drink can just really stop the play down, and they can really affect the rest of the team as well. So just having that extra person just to sort of cut out that time really helps the team.
Definitely. And what do you think then as a whole of the ETC? Because is this your first ETC experience? I mean, what do you think? I know we're early doors at the minute when we're talking, but what's your impression so far?
Organisation-wise, it's fantastic in the sense of everyone's got guest passes. It's a little rough around the edges, the actual building itself, but to me, that's kind of you can see past that. That's not a problem. But there's sort of like there's a media centre, there's Wi-Fi, and I think there's been problems in the past where there's been like no Wi-Fi. So getting out for other people who want to listen in, because there are people all over the world who want to listen to this event. It's so big, and people. I mean, I remember last year when I was at home, I was like, "Where's the updates? Where's the updates?" And it was like, "Well, the Wi-Fi doesn't let it get through the updates." So there's a massive Wi-Fi hub here. There's a bar. There's loads of trade stalls here. So it's definitely run professionally, and it seems like chatting to the media guy, I can't remember his name, yesterday, he was just telling us about what they've got, the people they've got. Like they've got the local TV show has supplied them with all the plasma screens and the lights. So when the podcasters like you and me want to do video podcasts, they've got professional sort of lights to make sure the light, so it's not a dark light or anything like that. And they've set up a little booth on above the media centre for videos, and you overlook the whole venue.
Oh, brilliant!
So it's perfect, really. It's really really good in that sort of like, professional sense.
Good. And have you got much of the? I mean, I always get like a bit of a carnival feel to this event. A little bit like we get to a lesser extent. I think sometimes find on the Friday night at the South Coast. We get that everybody's come down, lots of people. Have you felt that so far with this? Yeah,
definitely. I mean, there's just sitting chatting with you now. There's groups. There's a little mini Warhammer tournament going off. There's pockets of people sort of in front of us, behind us, all sort of like having practice games. So it's definitely got sort of like a feel to it, like a community feel, because people have come over from all over the world, haven't they? So they want to come and socialise, and that's. I think that's one of the biggest draws. There is the game itself, but one of the other big draws is the socialising, meeting friends.
The biggest draw,
Like I've met a couple of people from here at South Coast GT, so I've been chatting with them. There's a couple of people I met in Australia. Looking forward to seeing them. So you get to see these people like once a year. So it's kind of like a good feel that you get to see mates again.
And it'd be interesting to see your thoughts after a couple of days of the actual Warhammer and everything else and the serious part of it. But for me, this is the main draw. I mean, I've often said on the show, I don't think you come out here with to try and there is some sort of thing about coming out to test, see how good you are against the opposition, what is deemed the best opposition in the world. But really, the social aspect of meeting people from all over countries with all over the world with different views on the game is more of an interest in the social part of it.
It does. It shows how we live in the UK. We just live in a fishbowl in that sense of. It's just, that's where it was born. This hobby was born in England, and we kind of feel how to me, that's where it all is. But it's not. It's all over the world. And how other people have got like the same ideas about the game and stuff like that. So I think it's fab. It's really really good. So for this to be sort of so continental, worldwide. Sorry, continental.
Yeah, well, what started off as a European team championships with some teams from Euro has spread worldwide. I mean, got teams from Singapore, Australia,
New Zealand,
America, all these places. And we moan about us having to take 2 flights here, but it still only really took us in flight times like 2 and a bit hours or something.
When I've been over to because obviously I've been to Australia a couple of years ago in America, and when they tell me we travelled 3 hours just to do a one-day tournament, and then they're like saying, but that's nothing to us because we'll go across the state just to get to a tournament, because they have to, they don't have any options, and I moan to come down to your event, it takes me 3 hours to get to South Coast. I'm like, oh, it was so hard.
Because you
got it easy, really, haven't we?
We have. But no, it is good that everyone does it. I mean, it is a nightmare. Like getting here wasn't the easiest of journeys, but once you're inside the little bubble, you're happy to be here, aren't you? So it's just getting there. So yeah, looking forward to it. Any other comments you've got for me before we move on?
No, I'm just going to. I don't know when this is going to go out later, isn't it? Recording-wise, I'm going to try and just keep tweeting as much as I can about the England games. So there should be regular updates, but this will be gone by then.
Yeah, hopefully they've enjoyed the coverage. Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's going to be a good one, I think.
Good. Well, best of luck, mate, and I'm sure we'll catch up and see what your thoughts are, especially as it's your first ETC. I'm very interested to see how you found the whole event on our way out, as I believe we've got plenty of time to kill on Monday. So.
I think so, yeah.
Brilliant.
By the sounds of it.
We'll catch up with you later. Cheers.
Ciao.
Okay, so we're back. We've found some new people and some old people. We've got Mark and Gareth with us again, and we're with Eric from Team Norway. Hello. And you are like Mark. You're a non-playing coach for this year.
That's right.
Good. It's a prettier version of me.
I was just about to say, he's nothing like Mark. He's tall, sexy, and smouldering.
You're horrible.
So, is this your first ETC, or have you been out to them before?
No, I went last year.
Yeah,
that was my first year as the coach.
Oh, brilliant! And you were coach last year as well.
Yes.
And how did you find it?
It was surprisingly fun.
Yep.
Because I wasn't actually going with the team. I was going to the side events last year. And our coach had to bail out at the last minute. So they had only the 8 players.
Yeah.
And we were a bit hungover on the Friday when the event started. That's when the side event boys had the day off. So we were just sitting watching the games, and the captain just sticks a pad and a pen in my hand and goes,
"You are now
go around the tables."
Excellent.
So
that story sounds similar, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's how we tend to have recruited our coaches in the past. Come and give us a hand, please. Yeah, good. And how did you find the whole event? So you enjoyed it being coach? Did you find it hard not playing in the main event?
Not at the time, but I could when we were on the flight back home. I would buzzing. Yeah. With hobby with Warhammer.
Yeah, I think the post ETC bit is always a buzz for most people. I think so. And did you have a chance to play on the team this year, or was you always intended to be coach, or you weren't allowed to play? How does it work?
I applied to the role of coach.
Yeah. Oh, right, brilliant.
From the get-go.
Good. That's even better when you've got people that I think want to be the coach rather than haven't got a choice. So, how does the selection process work? In England, there's a lot of drama and talk that goes on around it. How does the selection process in Norway work?
Well, since the Warhammer community in Norway is really not that big, it's actually quite tiny especially compared to the English one and other European communities. So there really isn't that much interest. So we hadn't had the need to imply a big system to it.
Oh, okay.
So it's normally it's a committee of some of the older ETC guys, the guys who have been with the ETC for many years, and they will select the applicants.
Oh, brilliant!
So people just apply, and they have to show results and the willingness to actually go over to play, to prepare, and all those things, and then the committee just picks out the players.
Brilliant.
Not really based on what army they can bring, but more what the player just can bring to the team.
Yeah. And did you have a turnover? Because 2010, I think, was my first ETC, and I remember meeting several guys, and I walked away with a Norway shirt. Several of us have still got the Norway shirts from that year. And there was a Tomb King player called, I can't remember his name now, shorter guy with glasses, him and his friend, and I don't think I've seen them since 2010. And there was a couple of other guys as well that don't play now. The names escape me. Have you had quite a turnover in players? Or was it 8th edition, you lost some from your scene, or how did it work?
We did lose a few of the big guys, the big ETC guys from the team. Well, yes, it was not that much rage, I guess, but they did quit, and then a couple of them are playing War Machine now.
Oh, okay, and that was 8th edition calls that?
Yeah, that's the seems to be what's been happening all over the world, really. Yeah. So we took a little bit, because our team was very strong at that point. I think we took a 4th place 1 year. And when those old guys stepped back, we realised we had to get some new blood in, so that's what we've been doing.
Brilliant.
So we have 3 new players this year. We had 2 or 3 last year.
Oh, good.
We met one of your new players last night, didn't we?
Yeah, so let's talk a bit about last night
then,
because you lot, just before we start recording this, we're talking about interesting stories, and I think it's good for everybody to kind of picture what goes on outside of these events. So what did you get up to last night then? You said you met one of their new guys.
We randomly turned up to some biker bar.
Yeah. remember, this is family friendly, so you can mention these things. We'll keep them as nice and as we can.
And no, nothing that sort. No, and we just kind of just met because that you were like your group, and we were like we sort of Scottish guys. We just started chatting, and I think the community itself just brings itself together, and you just introduced each other. And
well, actually, what actually happened was I walked into the bar and I was approached straight away to say, Gareth, your biggest fan is in that bar chatting to those girls, and I was like, oh, I've got an admirer.
It's quite funny because I don't know what's his name.
Martin.
He was chatting to these like 4 girls, and he kept on looking over at Gareth. And you could just tell he was dying to meet Gareth. Like, looking over,
wanted to leave the 4 girls.
I think he followed the right path and tried with the girls, to be honest.
Yeah.
But when the girls left, I got his attention.
Yeah. And what was he? He is actually a fan of the show. Is that?
He is a big fan of the show, and to be honest, like Britain playing as well. So he listens to your podcast too. But he's only 18. It's his first event.
Oh, good. I'll be very interested to see how he finds it over after 6 games.
What story you told? Didn't he do really well in Sweden?
Yes, actually, he took away the Swedish championships.
Oh, did he?
Yes. The Swedes were baffled.
Yeah. Oh, excellent. Good.
He actually won the Swedes.
And so we carrots and potatoes.
What did he win with?
What?
What did he win with?
His lizardman.
Oh, Lizardman,
right.
Yeah.
Excellent.
LMC.
Listen, man. And so what else happened? So you went to a local bar. Was it a biker's bar, you were saying?
Well,
it doesn't really look
so.
like the kind of area like that, but people were telling me it was
I have
a biker's
seen a
bar.
couple of bikers all sort of driving around a bit Hells Angels-esque, of driving around there. That's interesting.
I felt about 60% safe, just because there was burly men to help me.
Yeah.
But other than that, I don't think I would have gone there on my own. And they didn't want to serve you. After a certain time, they just know we're not interested.
I think they messed up a lot of the orders. There was a weird kind of buy stuff at the bar, but at the same time, table service as well. And it was very strange. It was a good day.
They seemed backed up. Badly backed up. So
they weren't prepared for it, the locals.
No, I don't think
500
so.
war games. They're going to be, I think they're going to be packed up all weekend the way this is
I
going
think
to go.
so, yeah.
This happened actually in Germany in 2010. There's this tiny little bar that literally everybody from the fantasy championships came into in the evenings, and it was just 2 old men, and it would normally have probably 2 old men at the bar for a few beers, so it always gets big. And then what happened afterwards? So the bar closed. Did you guys go on? Is it late night opening here, or?
I don't think did the bar ever close.
We left at about 12, I think, didn't we?
Yeah, we left about.
But you went to an adult establishment afterwards, didn't you?
Oh yes, we did.
So you guys just left. Eventually, it was still open when you left.
Yeah,
I suppose it was.
They never
Did you go to
closed
bed last night?
About 4:15 or something. 4:15, I think.
Yeah, we're being offered vodka.
Alcohol.
Yeah, too early in the morning.
We've
We've got a drunk Woody trying to give us. It's about 12 o'clock, and drunk Woody's trying to give us some vodka.
Yeah. I could smell him coming in from a mile away. He's here.
I would have joined
Wouldn't
in,
be
but I
ETC
can't do
without
vodka.
No, not this time in the morning. I suppose it's nearly lunchtime now, but good. Now, what are Team Norway? What are the expectations for this weekend? Are you feeling good about it or not?
We are feeling good. We have some very strong lists this year, but then again, so does everyone.
Yeah.
But we do have some very strong players, and we are looking at. We're hoping for a top 10 placement. We'll be happy with a top 10 placement, but reaching the top 5, that would be amazing.
Excellent. Good.
So I find the newer players. One of the things with Team England was doing the creation of the team. If you have too many new players, it can really hamper you because the play style is just so different. And people making one mistake here or there can really cost you sort of placings, can't it, with a few new people?
Well, I think it's the same. Everyone plays in their own fishbowl when you get used to playing a certain way, and then when you come here and someone doesn't do what say Empire player does the same thing to you all the time, or the Lizardman player at home does the same thing to you all the time. Someone here does it completely different, and you've never seen it, and it catches you out. It can be hard work to recover from sometimes.
Yeah, definitely.
But I don't know. Maybe with all the coverage this event gets and things, people are more got more of an expectation of what to expect when they get here. So I know certainly our new player this year hasn't found it too much of a difference so far. So, but then he plays a lot of us, which are sort of ETC regulars quite often. So I don't know. And what do you think of the setup? I keep asking everyone this. Everyone's got good things to say so far about the actual venue and everything else.
Oh, it seems great. And it's actually, there's about 40 degrees outside now.
Yeah.
And this hall is actually quite cool and comfortable.
Yeah, it's kind of warm, but at the same time, it's aircon, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And it's nothing
right.
like the Polish
No.
room last year.
There's air conditioning. This is air conditioning, not a big fan at the end of one
What
hall.
also helps is it's so spaced out. isn't it? I mean, it's bigger than Warhammer World.
Yeah.
For anybody who's been there, bigger than size. Probably more than double the size, to be fair. I mean, there's so much space in between tables.
Yeah.
It's just you're not. I mean, I went to an event a couple of weekends ago, roll call, and literally you had 2 foot in between each table. It was very.
I've
very
been to tournaments where you're sitting playing your game, and the guy next to you is sitting next to you as well, behind you playing his game. So yeah, it can be a little bit tight. And I'm not the slimmest
You could easily
guy,
have a quick nap and lie down lengthways in between each table there.
Yeah,
if you wanted.
Yeah, I mean we're sitting 3 abreast in the aisle, so it's good. Are you sniggering it abreast?
I am.
Yeah, I thought you were. Brilliant. Good. Well, cheers for joining us, guys, and good luck to Team Norway during the event.
Thank you, and good luck.
Not too much good luck.
Thank you. Not too much.
Not
If
too
you
much.
play us, of
Okay.
course, none. Cheers. Okay, so I'm here with a man who everybody on the English interwebs knows as #FatCraig, Craig Johnson. Why do they call you fat? Because as a fat person myself, you are certainly not. So.
I blame Gareth.
Oh, okay. It was a nickname given to you then, I take it, rather than one you've claimed.
Yeah, when I was a bit bigger, so...
Oh, okay, good. And you're out here for Team Scotland, so does your heritage go back many lines of your family?
My dad lives in Edinburgh,
Oh, okay.
so that's right,
That's
yeah.
good enough for them, is it?
And there's always been one player from Harrogate in the Scotland team, apart from the first year, which was Neil Peckett, Paul Brown and Rob Ing, so keeping the tradition going.
Yeah, you're in. And you've come out for the singles event, which doesn't get a lot of coverage normally. How have you found it? Well, tell us what the singles event is first.
So the singles event is an event for anyone, including players that aren't in teams, can turn up and play against other people that might be at the ETC or that might be local. So there's quite a few players from Serbia that aren't playing in the ETC, and there's quite a few players that are coaches that are playing it as well. So anyone can enter, and I think there's 58 players in a wide variety of armies. So.
Oh, excellent. And are you using your Skaven from the ETC, same list?
Yes, same list, yeah.
Good. And how's it going for you so far?
Yeah, all right. I'm on 61 out of 80 points, currently second. So
good stuff.
Yeah.
And what have you found? I take it this is your first European play-in. Have you played Europeans before or not?
Yeah, it's my first ETC. I played quite a few Europeans at random GTs. Like Malifaux GT last year, I played 4 Belgians in 5 games. So,
oh, okay, yeah.
But first time playing in Europe
against Euro people.
Yeah.
Cool. And how have you found the standards? Obviously, not that great as you beat them all.
They're all chumps.
They're all chumps. You heard it here first. Yeah, good. And how's the games been? You enjoyed them?
Yeah, the games have been good. It's been quite competitive. I think that was a given the fact that it's ETC style. But all the games have been quite close one way or the other, and all quite high tempo again. So it's been good. But
good. And you're using a slightly different Skaven list than the normal one we see in the UK. You haven't got a bell. You've got just a bazillion characters in one unit, haven't you?
Yeah, 3 Warlords, no A-Bomb, no Seer, no Stormbanner, no Brass Orb, none of the toys.
Does it catch people out?
Yeah, I think people don't really understand it. For example, Ben Curry was talking about his top 5 ETC list and saying what he thinks my list is good against, because that was one of the ones he discussed. I don't think he fully understood it based on what he said, but I don't want to give too much away. So.
No, in case you play us, that's fair enough. But yeah, it does seem like a solid list. I've got some concept of how it works. But for the listeners that haven't seen it, I'm sure they can see it from the ETC list. But it is a load of characters in one unit that can, do. There's a lot of tactical flexibility, I think, in it. From a Skaven player and myself, I can see how it could work. Have you caught many people out of it during the tournament, or like you say, they don't see the concept of it?
I think my first game was the best example of it. So the guy had 3 assassins with Manbane and Fury of Cain for the D3 attacks, as well as 2 level 4s and a BSB in a massive unit of Corsairs. And he tried to charge me, failed, so I charged in. And I think he thought he would win the combat, and he didn't.
No.
Quite badly. So I think there's a few changes I would make after a few recent games, but I like the list. It's different, and it's good.
Oh, good. And what do you think about the venue as a whole?
The venue's really good. The layout's brilliant. There's loads of room between tables. It's aircon. It's light. There's 3 bars. When Flames of War get here, apparently there's 2 at the minute.
Oh, okay.
The only thing, the food that I had yesterday at the venue wasn't amazing, but it's cheap enough to go out and buy.
Yeah. Well, pizza around the corner is £2. So,
exactly.
Yeah. Good. And you're looking forward. What's your hopes for the main event, apart from a ton of points?
The main event, to get 20s every round. Is I think Scotland as a whole, we want to finish top 10.
Yeah.
We've done a lot more prep than we have done in previous years, so hopefully top 10, but I was at Scottish practice weekend a couple of weekends ago, and I scored across 6 games a total of 16 points.
Oh, okay.
So as long as I do
didn't
better
give you
than
a
that,
confidence boost. Yeah.
No.
Well done, teammates. Yeah. He's got his teammates cheering in the background. So tell me a bit about, because Scotland doesn't get a lot of coverage really. They're kind of like this because we know a lot of you guys. I suppose we don't really ask the question. But what do you do to prepare? Is there preparation? It always comes across like I think people play it down like as Scotland. We go for a bit of fun and drink whiskey and wear kilts and stuff. But I mean, what is the preparation like?
So we've had Google Hangouts, which is like just a video call every Monday or Tuesday night every week, and there's usually 5-6 people on it to discuss through lists.
Yeah. I like that. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, that is perhaps more prep than we've done. Yeah.
So we discuss through lists, matchups, stuff like transport. So we just discuss through anything that we want to chat through.
Yeah.
It's quite nice to stay in touch with everyone as well. Gave a real team feeling this year, I think.
Yeah.
And even people that weren't in the team that had been previous members joined in with the calls and stuff to give some advice.
Oh, brilliant.
The general prep was me saying to everyone, take Heavens, and then I think one person's taken Heavens, which upset me.
Yeah.
Like
the whole team shouting.
A Storm Banner, an A-bomb, a Gracier.
Yeah.
No.
And then, that's good. And you said it was a practice weekend. Was it just the one weekend?
We had one weekend up at Common Ground Games in Stirling. So me, Robin, Andy drove up, and then a few of the Scottish guys met us there. And
brilliant.
Had some random games. And
was that post-list submission or pre-list submission? Post, right, yeah.
It was 2 weekends after Six Nations, I think.
So okay, good. So you had that and Six Nations, yeah. Good. And how did you find the Six Nations? Did you do good there with your list? I didn't see the individual scores. I don't really look at individuals. So.
I think I scored exactly 50, so exactly average. But there was one game where I took a big risk to get a massive win and messed up.
Yeah.
So I cost my team a round at Six Nations.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It was my first Six
Nations.
Nations.
That's a rite of passage for team events anyway. Everyone's got to do it. I've done it. Yeah.
Leggy almost did it in Plymouth.
Yeah.
I think Six Nations is good. It was my first Six Nations, but there was a sort of a tiny part of me that was disappointed it wasn't Six Nations. But at the same time, I knew all the other people going, and it was good to play football on Saturday night. So it was a great event. But
good. And how would you describe, to people who haven't been here, how would you describe the Heelan's event so far?
Massively sociable. Most people, I think, have come out to have a good time, to have a social, to have a holiday. And that's the overall feeling. Like, it doesn't feel like a competitive tournament yet. Obviously, that might change across the weekend, but even then, just looking at how teams interact with previous teams they've played and go out for drinks with teams they played last year, it just seems like the whole thing is built around meeting new people and having a good time. So.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of the negative publicity it gets, I think, gets exaggerated. And it's always interesting to hear from people that are here for the first time what they actually think about it, because you hear all this, these players are really good and they're really tight games and the cheating and all this kind of stuff. But it is really isolated. I think the overall event, it is a really social thing, and I'm hoping this year it's been a bit sporadic in the last couple of years because of the venue and where we are, but I think the way they've set this up with bars here and it's quite central and the hotels are all quite central, I'm hoping there'll be a lot of socialising over the event, which is not normally the case. Sometimes you only see people Thursday and you don't see them till Sunday night, so in the last couple of years you've been lucky to do that, so yeah, it should be good. Well, thanks for talking to us and good luck. What have you got? One more? How many games you got? Two more.
They announced this morning it was 6 games, and I
You really
loudly.
wanted 5.
I wanted 5 so badly. But
do you know what you're likely to be playing?
I'm playing Brett's next round.
You got fancy that, haven't you, or not?
I haven't played the matchup.
Oh, okay. You'll be fine.
He hasn't got life magic, so that's good.
You got Warp Lightning Cannon, haven't you? Yeah, you'll be fine. Just don't blow it up.
it's killed one thing in one shot, and that was the first shot of the tournament. It killed a Hydra, and then it's done nothing. So.
Oh, it's good. It's winding up then, isn't it? It's winding up. So, no, it's great. Cool. Well, cheers for joining us, mate, and good luck, and I hope you win.
Thank you.
Representing for Britain, should we say? But we're going to do that Andy Murray style. Yeah, brilliant. Cheers, mate. Thanks. Hello everybody, so it is still Thursday and we've got some more people I found walking around the hall, which is good. We've got Jarrett and Larry from Team USA.
Hey.
I can't remember, did I interview you in 2010 when you were out last?
I can't remember either.
No, I can't remember, but was that right? Am I thinking, how many have you been to now, ETCs?
Just 2010.
Yeah, just 2010, yeah. And is this your first one?
This is. I was not able to make it in 2010, so.
Good. Well, I'm going to get the boring bits out of the way first before the exciting bits. USA got a bit more publicity this year, so we say, on the Warhammer forum for people asking for a second team and all the rest of it. How is, just for the listeners that have seen glimpses of this, how is Team USA picked?
That is a really complicated question. Well, in 2010, that was the initial team, and that was kind of a ramshackle process.
Yeah.
It was basically first come, first serve, who can make it. And then our captain dropped last minute, so we got our last player 2 weeks before the event. We went. I thought we did pretty good, and then because of the actual rules, we kind of maintained control and have gone through different attempts at organizing. This year was probably the smoothest process we've had yet. But it's mostly Northeasterners, guys that are known around from the scene, and people we know are competent.
Good. So, yeah, it's a bit of a fluid process then. Is it a committee type thing?
Yeah, basically. Guys that know other guys are competent and have been invited. There was a process the year prior what was it, 2011, where people went from different regions. I mean, our initial team, we had guys from Texas and
I remember,
the Midwest, but they were known to the people. They had traveled a lot, and so
because you guys are Northeast, aren't you?
Oh yes,
yeah.
I mean,
most
Keith,
of us are Northeast.
Like, Keith took applications this year. I don't know if it was as publicly known. Some people say it wasn't, but he did take applications. There was like a screening process. It's just a question of our country's so big. You want to go to Europe with the best team you have, but you also have to go with guys you trust.
Yes.
And that involves guys that you play with, and you play against them. You know they're competent.
Yeah.
Not just because they do well in some regional event somewhere. It's just
you've had first
repetition.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's consistency. And then on top of that, I mean...
Well, you also know the value of having been to the ETC before and having somebody who knows how it's not about individual performance, that actually that matters not at all. It matters if you can fulfill your assigned role.
Yes.
So that comes with a lot of trust and also just experience and know-how and having done that before. And there's also the fact that different regions play under very different restrictions. So the Northeast has been very open to ETC format and composition. Some places prefer not, but that's a very different game of Warhammer than ETC style Warhammer. So it's not a smooth process, but we've only been coming for a few years.
Yeah, it does take time. I mean, we still get we've got a reasonably well tried process, and we still get every year criticism about it. And to be honest, I don't think there's a perfect system. Everybody wants it. There's 8 places, isn't there? And we don't have anywhere near. I don't know though. We've got, obviously you guys are a massive country, loads of players. Although we're a very, very small country, we've also got a massive amount of players that want to play.
Yes.
Well, your community is a lot tighter knit because you can all reach each other's tournaments by car eventually. I mean,
I saw a thread on the Warhammer forum this morning that someone moaning that they're a new player and can't get into a tournament, and our tournaments, 100 players most of them, you just can't get them. They sell out in a day. So it's so I can see it. But I was interested to know how it works. I remember talking about it in 2010, and it was a bit like, well, we got 8 people that could come and everything else, and now you're
and then our captain dropped. And that was a shit show.
But I do think it would be really odd if the US didn't have a team here. It'd be really bizarre. So it's a tough thing when you probably end up. I think most teams end up with probably 9 or 10 serious people, and it's the 2 that don't get in. The problem. Yeah. So, what do you think about the venue then so far? I know it's only Thursday, but
I think it's been great. It actually has exceeded our expectation. It's big. It's not been hot, really.
Yeah, you hear Serbia. You don't set the bar too high. So
I was going to ask you that exact question.
No, I mean it's air conditioned. I mean there's there's internet everywhere.
The terrain is consistent.
There's 2 bar stands.
Tables are nice.
Yeah. Tables are nice.
Good.
A+.
Good. And have you managed to play any Johnny Foreigners, as we call them, since you've been here?
Not any foreigners yet. No. We played against each other. We are playing Denmark in about an hour.
Oh, brilliant. Okay. So, good news.
Warm up.
Yeah, and is that something you've done previous years, or is it just they just won the game? Yeah.
Not with Denmark.
Russia, I think.
Usually Russia,
but they have a new team this year, so we kind of just slapped together. We just wanted you want to get the cobwebs out.
Yeah.
Do one practice round, get a feel for the pairings, especially for the few people who haven't been here before.
It's kind of what we do with the Ashes, but
right, exactly. But there's a little more pride on the line there.
Yeah, there's a trophy involved, but it does help. It is a really good pre-round, which is good. So tell me a little bit about armies. What are you playing this year?
Bretonnians.
You're Bretonnians.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I saw you doing it. Nice army as well. What was the thought then? You moved away from the Lizardmen, or you weren't allowed to play them? What happened?
I independently decided that I think Lizardmen are behind the. Lizardmen are very potent in a tournament scene, individual format. It just, when thinking about pairings, I thought Bretonnians brought a little more to the table. Trebuchets are one of the best war machines in the game. Heroic killing blow is a big threat. So for ETC style play, there's a lot Bretts bring to the table.
We certainly considered them.
So I was willing to to
take one for the team,
chuck the Lizardmen, and say that I would absolutely do Bretonians play, and I played in multiple tournaments.
Brilliant. And was this army? Did you build and paint it for the event?
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, excellent.
Pretty
Good.
much.
And how have you found them overall? Fun to play?
Brets are fun to play. Yeah, definitely. They're very well rounded. There's you want those sixes on that HKB guy, but it's a great.
Having played him at ETC, I didn't roll many sixes on mine, but when it does work, it's brilliant.
When it works, it's brilliant. It's more about the threat. He's fantastic until he gets into combat.
Yeah.
But overall, they're very flexible. Lots of flyers, good armor. The prayer is fantastic, and so I really wanted kind of an all-comers list, kind of like an absorber.
Yeah.
And it's working out.
Good. And Larry, you're playing vampires.
Vampires, yeah.
And long-term vampire.
Always. I've been playing vampires forever. Two schools of thought with this. What I've noticed, people are going either blocker. Vamps block really well, hold on to their points, or a couple of you tricksy countries have double hex wraiths.
Yes.
Right. You guys seem to like that out here.
But we've ditched ours, but
it was being tested heavily.
Yes.
Some countries did bring them, and that's all about, at least in my estimation, saving vamps for the final four and getting them a sweet matchup. Because otherwise, there are too many bad matchups.
Yes.
So you've got to be really trying hard to get your vampires a good match if you're going double hex wraith.
Yes.
So now our lists are pretty fluid. They're pretty versatile. We opted with the Black Knight bus because, in my opinion, holds on to points just as well as the Cryptars.
Yeah.
I don't have any Banshees, but I mean, to me, Banshees are very hit or miss. You way hit or miss more than say Heroic Killing Blow.
Yeah.
And it forces you to play in a rank and file unit, which has all kinds of liabilities, being infantry, right? We know that. And Cryptars, the meta's kind of left Cryptars behind. They're strength 4, they're still cheap, they're still fast, they still heal really well. Don't get me wrong.
Monstrous cav.
They're great, but all the armor that's everywhere,
they don't do anything.
They're a problem. They are pretty good against high elves, I guess. They can't properly shoot them, you run at them. But the bus will hold its points just as well. It's a lot more durable to things like trebuchet shots, all kinds of annoying things. They hold up to the grind way better with a 2-up.
Yeah.
I have MR2. The Lord's
and you're
got
not
all the
even
gear.
In contact with
you're not even in contact. And what it does is you want to get to the heart of the army and get points if you can in the right matchup. And you've got the extra move and your swift stride. Yeah. And it just opens up so many possibilities. It's a little ballsy, I understand. There's a couple of you get a couple good Doom Diver shots. All of a sudden, you got a rock on your vampire.
Yeah.
It's a problem.
We've heard that the U.S. plays a little more aggressively, but we did kind of have a
do you know it's really important?
That
something that we discovered a couple of years ago was that having loaded defensive armies and trying to do this, it's not worth it because you need the cap on the lower teams to get yourself in a position.
Right. That was our point.
Get it.
You have to get bigger wins when you have the opportunity against the countries that maybe don't take it as seriously.
Yeah.
You have to have a chance to compete with the top guys.
Yeah, if you're against the top team, an 85 could be really a great round for you, and that's just holding your own. Yeah. That's not going to really net you more points, whereas if you capitalize and get 100 when you can. Yeah. So we have a lot of armies. That's another thing about Brets. They can really put their the pedal down, hit the gas, and go in and get points. I'm always one turn away from being in combat across the entire table if I need to be.
And they hold on to the points, the knights, and it's not like I gave up anything. I still have 2 level 2 death mages, so I've got my sniping, I've got my invocation, my lord has got all the kit you could want.
Yeah.
And then you've still got 6 Vargeists, and then the rest of it is just chaff, out the wazoo. You just put it down, march forward. If they're trying to hide, you're pushing a wall of, skinks can't run around 5 units of 30 zombies, skeletons definitely. And wolves and bats. So it covers the board, it does its job, and you hope it gets there late and scores some points.
I think what some people put aside when they come to ETC and they put too much emphasis on it is lists. They're like, lists. It's more down to you've played vampires forever. You know how to use that army, and it's a good army. People might look at it and go, "Oh, well, it's a bit risky for this and this." It doesn't matter if you know what you're doing with it. It's far better than a blocker list in the hands of somebody who's played 30 games with it. So, and I think that's that too much emphasis gets put on that. So I'd certainly be concerned about playing against it. It's a nasty list. So,
it's good,
we have a very strong team this year. We're feeling really good. Maybe too good, but
we'll
stick with it.
I thought you had pretty solid lists, and you've got a lot of guys who've been before as well, haven't you as well? So.
Yeah.
And I know people have issues sometimes over fairness, and it's been highlighted with this.
Sure.
But at the end of the day, if you've got, because what have you got? 4 of you from East, is it at least, or is there more?
The whole team, pretty much.
The whole team.
The whole team this year is from the Eastern Seaboard.
Yeah, and sometimes that is the best. That is, for actual competitive wise, the best thing, that you've got a tight knit guys. You play each other.
We play each other all the time.
Having that. that esprit de corps amongst your friends, and you kind of want to do better for each other rather than having a stranger enter the team. And we've had people from around the country, and they've
fit in.
They've participated with other people, but they actually have had problems. And people have come for different reasons. It's perfectly valid to come with a team and just want to have fun and have the experience. Yeah. And I think that's great. But the ETC, especially for us, is a massive investment.
Yes.
So many of us would not want to go with the team that just came here to have fun.
We
want to have a competitive event. We're here for the competition. So we want people that have that same mentality. And you're not necessarily going to find that from across the country if you've never met somebody.
No, that's it. I think a lot of people want to do this, but I think don't understand what you need to do. Not only money, but time.
The preparation leading up to the event is the other thing, is that it would be so much harder if we weren't so close. I mean, the hours we put in just Gmailing and Skyping to go through lists, to practice lists,
and we were actually able to get together and play practice rounds with each other.
To go to Matt's, go to Matt's house for the weekend and start the process back in February.
Yeah,
and just from then on, go through all the events, do a practice ETC style team event. Do all of it. We split Team America into 2 teams. And we just ran through the people. I mean, it's an intense. It's not just showing up, building some lists, and being like, "Oh, I'll meet you in Serbia." You have to. It takes dedication.
Yeah, it is if you're coming out to do not a lot, but I don't know any real competitive Warhammer players that want to come over to a team event to do rubbish. No one does.
Yeah,
exactly.
Our captain just sat down.
Yeah. Oh, Keith. Hello. Nice to meet you. I'm Dan. Yeah.
Dan?
Yeah.
Dan Heelan.
Yeah. Coming in. So you're captain this year, are you?
Yeah.
Good. What are you playing?
Skaven.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Always.
So,
they still let us take Skaven.
Yeah.
In Skaven armies. So
yeah.
They didn't restrict us from taking.
No.
You taking the Skaven yet.
Oh, good. So, this is good. So you're not a fan of the composition system?
I think it's a little too. I mean, they basically force you. They basically tell you the Bell build is better for ETC, and then they say, but it's too good, so we don't want you to take other stuff with it.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's a denial build, which they kind of pushed Skaven toward.
Yeah.
And then they say, well, we don't want you to have 2 assassins because then you're too good at not dying. We're like, okay.
There's a bit of a story in this as well, because I was in, the forums have gone public and they've taken some of this out now, so you can't see it.
Right.
I was on the committee last year, and in the Skaven comp thread, I played Skaven last year,
right.
And I said, why are you comping 2 Graces? You're not comping the Bell. It's been the best list for the last however many years, and they left it alone. It did really well again last year, and then this year they finally did something to it, but it's still...
Well, at least they finally... skipping Skaven entirely.
Yeah, it was too late. The meta's moved away from them, I think, and with the amount of, Crypt Horrors...
Oh, demons are a hassle for them.
Yeah, a lot of other people.
Right, no, there's definitely still...
But we still like them.
Well, we've got them. I still think they're a hard list to get more than 8 points off of.
Right, exactly. That's exactly the point. And I ended up with 15 Globadiers trying to work. I mean, you guys have double catapults.
You get a pool of points you can't spend on anything good, don't you? So you fill it with whatever you can do.
Yeah, some teams still took 3 by rat swarms. I don't know if they saw the last FAQ where they gave overrun back.
Yeah.
So I was like, I don't know if you really want those, but
No, a lot of people seem to quite like the non-panic. I used to use the rat dart thing.
That's still good. The rat swarms are definitely better than the darts if you're going to pick.
Yeah.
So,
but good. And is this your first ETC?
It's my first time playing. Yeah. I
good.
came last year as the non-playing coach.
Oh, brilliant! I seem to be picking up a lot of non-playing coaches talking to them. So that's good. How did you find it non-playing last year? Was it good fun?
Yeah, it was still fun. It's easier actually. You can drink a lot more without as much of a consequence.
Yeah.
So
exactly. And you can moan about everybody else's performance because you're not playing. So
right. Exactly.
Good.
You can blame everyone else.
Yeah. And what was your experience like at the first ETC? And how would you describe it?
Oh, it was a blast. It was awesome to just be around and hang out with everybody.
Yeah. Good. And so presumably you wanted to come back this year. And how did you get to be captain?
We just took a vote at the end of actually right before we left to get on everyone left. We took a vote and I was interested in doing it. Yeah. Also because I spent the time and money to come help out and not play.
Yeah.
So
we had the same similar thing this year. Our non-playing from last year was going to be our captain until he had to drop. So,
right.
But yeah, it's even. I asked this question to everybody because I think some people don't see it outside. What made you want to spend thousands of dollars or whatever to come and not play Warhammer?
Getting involved with the process is part of it. It was also kind of like it seems like it really is a nice addition to the team. I think most of the really competitive teams will have one. It's probably a little trickier for America because you're spending a lot more money to come over than maybe Central European countries that only have to drive or take a bus or something like that. So Yeah, and I knew a bunch of the guys on the team already, so I was already friends with them. So it's not like you're just coming up with 8 strangers and
as
not
I
playing.
think our non-player said this year, if he was coming with 8 strangers, he wouldn't come.
Yeah,
so,
exactly. I wouldn't have done it.
And there's
by
nothing
myself.
wrong with that. I think that's
right.
I mean, I understand fully the role of the ninth, and I think it's massively important. But listeners to the show and people that aren't involved, I think sometimes see it as a bit strange that someone would spend all that money. But for me, it's exactly.
Are you the coach?
This whole thing is
this year, I'm captain.
Oh, the captain. I mean, sorry.
Yeah. But we have a playing captain and a non-playing coach, which is what we did last year. Actually,
Yeah, right.
Same thing.
That's what we got.
That's exactly the same.
And I think that's useful actually sometimes. For lots of different reasons outside as well as the event, but the coach can do most of the stuff anyway. Did you see there's been a bit of a change in what the coaches can do this year?
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, you get a 3-minute
They give you all these rules as to what you can and can't do at the table, and then they say, but you can take like a secret timeout over in the corner, which basically you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, I had a discussion with the head ref this morning about it, because if you read it in the document, it sounds like you can't ask a player how they're getting on, because it says you can't communicate.
It's unenforceable.
Yeah, but
the rules are unenforceable in the secret meeting.
Yeah,
so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, no,
you can speak whatever language you want.
Yeah,
it's private, so it's really just the honor system, which is fine. But
well, he said actually it doesn't mean that at all. He said that what he meant is you shouldn't be able to you shouldn't be able to write a secret note in another language and hand it to your coach. He said, but there's nothing stopping the coach saying how are you doing and asking questions. I said, that's not what it says if you read it, but apparently that's how it is. So but
they should probably make an announcement then.
Yeah, they probably would, because that's going to cause a problem, I can tell. So, but 3-minute secret meetings was a bit of an interesting one, really. I don't know how I feel about that either.
I don't like it because it takes away from preparation, and it also takes away from individual player skill.
Yeah.
There's like something really nice about, here you go, we've set you up with the match. Now, if you're well versed in it, you should be doing well, and you get general instructions, and you have to take care of your own business. I think that individual portion of the tournament is very important. So having coaches being able to just advise.
It sounds a bit weird. Why don't you challenge this, do this? That's to me is too much detail, and it hasn't been at any other ETC. So I'm interested to see if people actually use it or not. I mean, I don't think we're particularly. The only time I could see us using it is if someone's done something clearly wrong, because there's nothing that says.
Well, they also said the coach can't stop now. Like last year, it was kind of looser, where it's like if you see a rule error, you can say, "Hey, wait a second."
Yeah.
But now I'm curious about that, because hopefully they have more judges than last year. Because as a coach, you can just say, "Hey, stop," and go get a judge. You can't actually give them the correction unless it would hurt your team. You're allowed to do that. But
see, this year it says you just can't interfere with the game or interrupt it. So the only way it seems to be able to say you're playing something wrong is to go, I'll have my 3-minute meeting just before you roll those dice. He's cheating you. Well, not cheating you, but you're playing something wrong.
Secret signals.
Secret signals, that's it. And going back to that, but that was an interesting change. So I'm going to get some feedback from our coach and see how they found it overall. So what's the aspirations for the weekend then? You seem fairly positive about it all.
Yeah, first place, I think. Is the aspiration.
Yeah, right. Good.
Not the expectation, but the aspiration.
No, I mean, we've done 6 was the best our country's done, so anything better than that would be great.
Was that the first year as well, wasn't it? 6?
Second,
we came
second
in 10th
year.
there.
10th.
Second
that
year,
was 7th edition.
Yeah.
The first 8th edition event. We finished 6th, right?
Yeah, I mean, the USA gets a bit of a rep for playing aggressively. Would you say, as in not aggressively at the table like I'm going to punch you, but aggressively in terms of your approach? Would you say that's fair or
yes.
not?
Yeah, I would say it's. I mean, it just seems like the list. We'll look at lists for warm-up events that you guys have here, even like in the spring, or even in the winter.
Yeah,
you guys are starting, and it's like we look at them, we're like, what the hell? But then you start thinking about it in the big picture. When everything you do is focused for this event, for a team event, certain lists that you would never take to a one-on-one event are viable here. So
it's also, I think Europeans seem more okay with just continually placing high at singles events, where Americans, it's basically like, I'm trying to go get first every time. So when you go to singles events, you see guys who are just trying to go out there and, like, if they get into a bad matchup, they're like, well, my best option to win is just to go all in, and
do you have
just
a lot
do
of
it.
win-loss draws, or is it 20-0?
That happens too. The 20-0 scale really
has been
affects
making
mentality.
Yeah,
it's
it does.
been starting to.
Well, we've been moving that way. Some events won't do a full 20-0, but they'll do like four tiers of a win, like a 12, 15.
Yeah.
But I think we all prefer the 20-0.
Yeah. I'm sort of for both. I've been to enough tournaments where, for example, our South Coast Grand Tournament that I run, we go through the scores in the last round and just double check everybody's to make sure there's nothing wrong. And you go for the amount of players who are playing on table 40 something, who have won the same amount of games as people playing on the top row because of the 20-0 system. Sometimes it seems a bit false. But
it can be frustrating as playing Skaven under ETC comp sometimes. It's like your ability to get the big win really gets taken away. But you can still, like you said, hold on to 8 pretty safely.
It just changes the role, doesn't it? Really?
In playing that this year, I've had trouble Like there was one
Crushing
event
it
where I
totally.
had like 3 11 to 12 point wins, so you're pretty much out of it. But
I mean, we have the same thing here. People, again, it goes back to that whole investment in time and effort. It's a bit
Right.
like you're playing to go to UK tournaments where normally you'd take whatever filth you particularly wanted to take with the aim of winning, and then you're slightly restricted because you think, actually, I should practice for this list, and I'll take this knowing that it's not a singles list and you can't necessarily get big wins. So.
Especially when you're comping yourself under ETC. And the tournament is not ETC comp.
No, and everyone's rolling 6 dice.
We had a
big spells
practice
at you.
event where our Warriors guy, we were all taking ETC comp lists. So he was like, screw it. It's the only time I'm ever going to get to play unrestricted Warriors. And he crushed at the event.
Yep.
Because all his biggest competitors were like
Everyone else
giving themselves.
hamstrung themselves, and he won the Warriors.
Yeah.
That's the kind of ruthlessness we like on USA. ETC
Like,
team.
3+ ward save with the eyes each. It was great.
All the toys.
All of it.
I don't blame him. Go for it.
And he won.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, I mean, I don't actually think there's anything wrong with that mentality. I think 8th edition,
No.
as part of our reason I think we did better last year, is because we went with the mentality of we need lists that can do that, can play
score
really
points.
hard.
Yeah.
Because in 8th edition, it's very hard to. You can do it. I mean, Lizardmen do it quite well, and you know that whole point still Arlie thing. But ultimately, if you want to win, you need to win, don't you?
Eighth is less predictable.
Yes.
The game can fall apart in one phase for you now.
You could be controlling the points very well, and then turn 6, one magic phase will.
Yeah.
You're like, now it's a blowout. I don't know what happened. I was supposed to be conserving points, and that was my feeling about Lizardmen this year. Personally, I felt like they don't hit the gases like Bretonian scan, and that was just kind of my own personal bugbear with the list. I mean, they're still very.
Well, I think there's something to that though, because
Sure.
if you look at the list, a lot of the top countries, I'd say 50% took Lizardmen.
Yeah.
And a lot of them did it. And there's a lot of variety. A lot of them are still double slam, but a lot of them are like bringing life back because of the lookout cert rules.
Yeah.
Like Death and Metal is pretty much gone. There's a lot of like Death and Light or Death and Life, or a lot of people just rolling with one slam.
Yes.
And some countries didn't take them at all. So
No. I mean, what do you think overall the comp? Do you think it managed to achieve something in what it's
I
done?
think the comp, for the most part, was pretty good. I do think Skaven were overcomped, and Empire, I think we can all agree, was undercomped.
I don't know. I'm not playing them.
Well, everybody, every country who wants to win has Empire on their team, which should signal something.
I mean, it was historically
It was
the
obvious,
Empire
too, from
were
the
best
beginning.
race. I mean, from 2010 they were the highest.
Right.
2011, it's been.
But I
apart
mean,
from last year.
last year they didn't do great. A lot of people.
No,
I
last
don't
year
think
they were
people
rubbish.
just didn't figure it out, or they weren't matching them in the right matchups.
I agree.
but they didn't, like Vampires and Empire are the only armies that are on pretty much every list that we expect to contend. Like,
Yeah.
and
that's because of light spam and double death.
right,
Yeah.
it's
That's it.
it's leadership 10 sniping and the ability to hold points for Vamps, and for Empire it's just the ability to do everything.
Yeah.
They do it all so well.
They're pretty good. I won't
Pretty
lie.
good.
I'm not going to lie.
Good. Demigryphs are pretty awesome.
Yeah, I'd like my second cannon, but still, without dropping
You
the
like
other
our no
demigod.
cannon list?
No, I've got one, but you have
We're the
to.
only ones with 0, and it's made quite a
Quite a start.
Yeah.
Do you know what though? I was talking to funny if we were having this discussion earlier about Empire, and there is an argument to say 2 or none.
I agree.
Is that,
Yeah.
I have one,
One
because
is
it
very
scares people.
unreliable.
Everyone's like, "Oh my
Sure.
god, the cannon!" But ultimately, I could probably drop
You
it.
see,
to
you see
someone
the
else.
people who like freak out about losing points. They just assume the cannon's going to hit and do 6
That's it.
wounds every time.
I mean, I've been banging my drum about it for ages, but having played with cannons now, I'm so less scared of them when I play them. Because yes, you will do it, but a lot of the time they will miss, they will roll ones, they will not do enough wounds.
or they'll do
Yeah.
2 wounds.
Yeah,
You know?
Yeah, it doesn't really happen. But yeah, so the comp overall, you thought did a reasonable job then?
Yeah.
It was a little late. It
That-
was a little late. It was a little slow.
Yeah.
And if when they opened, I mean, that was one of my problems when they opened it up. It seemed like there were 2 guys who were trying to do a lot of work, and there were other people who would kind of breeze in and vote yes or no. And so it's kind of like, well, why did you volunteer for this if you weren't really going to take the time? Overall, I think it ended up working out okay.
It certainly seems we found that the choice of armies to take was tight. We could have taken
Yes.
numerous, like we could have taken
Yes,
Brets.
exactly.
Yeah, it came down to really what players were playing.
But
If you
most
look at
of
a lot
that
of
was
the-
achieved like week 1 of the comp, though.
Yeah.
It's just like, okay, we're gonna ban the regular light spam.
Yeah.
And then, okay, that changes this, and then we're going to give orcs 100 extra points,
Yeah.
which I think made a big difference because you see a lot of orcs this year.
well, they're ripping it up in the UK at the minute. With
Oh, yeah.
running around warriors. So,
well, the meta is making them better.
Yeah.
So that's one of those things.
Anyone that doesn't have orcs, I don't get it.
No,
I don't get it.
The only reason we didn't take it is
Yeah, I
because we
don't
didn't have
get
a player.
Yeah.
We didn't have a player. That was
That's
it.
that's
yeah.
what we
kind of what we
figured.
thought.
Yeah.
You have to know what to do because stuff does go wrong at times. But
Yeah. No, if we had a player without I was almost tempted to, but we couldn't shift enough people to make it work. Basically, we'd have 4 people playing stuff. Then
You'd leave a hole somewhere else.
So we were like, do you know what? We won't take him. But yeah, I think they're amazing in this team environment. Really.
Yeah.
Very, very
for sure.
helpful when you do pairings. You can see how much orcs
Yeah.
bring to the table.
I mean-
The thing about the comp this year is you can tell by the top teams the variety of lists.
Yeah.
Other than things like you see double death snipe over and over again, you see light spam. But
Yeah.
overall, there's a set of about 4 lists that are in constant rotation among the
Yeah.
top teams. So it's quite interesting. I think the
Yeah.
comp did do its job. It's just needs to be out earlier.
Definitely. Well, what do you guys do do you look at all the lists and score all the lists, or do you how do you do the matchup process? I'm not asking for your secrets. I just want to know generally your process.
Well, I score all the lists, and then some of the other guys score their own.
That's not that. No, we went. We had like a matchup matrix, and we went through. We did we took the top 15 or so that we wanted to do, and we would go through with our own army and kind of eyeball it and give it like a 1 to 7. Yeah. Like being a 4, being like a 10.
Yeah.
Just in our estimation. And then we'd kind of just look and see what was universally good, universally bad.
Yeah.
So we could try to,
then we conferenced and we all talked about what people were assessing their lists at, and kind of like had that check to are you really think you're that bad against that? And it was good. It was a pretty healthy process, and then we kind of individually marked our own thing.
Oh, good. And I suppose from there you can see where you've got holes. I mean, ours, for example, is no secret, and this won't be going out until after the ETC, so I'm telling you guys. But you look at Empire, no one wants to play against Empire. It's like, nobody wants to.
Well, I think that's universal.
Yeah, I'd imagine the same. But again, it shows you your strength of the Orcs as well. And we've had this for the last 3 years. Yeah. Every time we start against the Orcs, everyone's like, no one wants to play it.
Nobody wants to play Orcs, right.
Yeah, and they generally, we still beat them, but nobody wants to actually play them.
Well, it's always dangerous, no matter how good your matchup is against Orcs, unless maybe certain Vampire builds are probably pretty safe against them. But almost everybody else, it's like, well, if the rocks just hit early and they finish off with a Doom Diver, there's really not much you can do about it.
Did you find when scoring it there was a lot of that? I know our guys were talking about it, and there's a lot of iffy matchups at the moment because there's so many access to cannons and stuff. So, if it puts that through me first turn, it's 20, or it seems a bit harder to grade.
Well, I don't think we have that many that would just get killed by one cannon, except maybe Warriors. No. So you try to not make all your vulnerabilities in the same area.
Yeah. Did you take Warriors?
We did.
You did. And how's your? I mean, we were still
very aggressive.
But we're super aggressive with that one because, as I said, I think
double Juggernauts.
I like the ones that have the disc or multiple demonic steeds with the blasted standard unit. That way they can kind of they're actually an Empire counter, which I think is what they wanted. I played against one in the Danish warm-up actually, and it surprised me because you couldn't cannonball it, and then they just fly out at you.
It's an Empire.
That's their Empire counter, which is because they struggle to find it, like you said.
Yeah. I mean, we've taken a couple of
them in Orcs too, but you could put them up.
Yeah.
So, moving away from the ETC briefly, just on Warriors, I know you guys have probably got going in a minute, but are Warriors ripping it up in the US? What's your US opinion on Warriors?
When the book first came out, it was a rough adjustment period. I mean, they were pretty dominant, but the comp quickly, I think, put them back in line. They're still very good. Yeah. But, I mean, they've been successful, but as successful as anyone else.
Yeah.
Okay. Who are we going? Denmark. Okay, well.
Cool. I will hold them for 2 seconds, and they're all yours. Sorry, right. I knew you guys would be on for a sec, so I appreciate your time. They were ripping it up, but not so much.
Well, then now you see Orcs and Goblins winning.
Yeah.
Right? Because more people are taking Warriors. And you see Ogres have fallen out of the placement entirely because they just get trumped.
Yeah, I mean, Ogres have disappeared because they were destroying people.
Oh, yeah.
Well, because they can't take both cannons.
No.
And you only have one cannon against that Demon Prince that can basically rip up your whole army.
Yeah.
They're forced into this weird double Mornfang Gutstar auto army that they don't have any real choices when they take. So and everybody's played that to death and knows exactly how to beat it.
And they don't have the vulnerabilities that Warriors, or they have more vulnerabilities as far as all their stats suck. Warriors are Warriors are them, but better in every way. So exactly. You can't Purple Sun your way through them. You can't. Their armor's even better at 1-up. I mean, Mornfang used to be the best.
No, I agree.
Leadership 7, baby.
I'm left behind.
I'm very interested to see how all this plays out. I love the fact that this game changes so often. It's what keeps us interested, I suppose.
A lot more than it used to.
Yeah. Especially near the end of the
You got a new Lizardman book, but that's a conversation.
I might even find it as a Lizardman player. I might even come back and talk to you guys at some point about that because I am very interested in what your thoughts are on this. But I know you've got to go and play. So thanks for joining us, and I'm sure I will. Good luck unless you play us.
Same to you. All right.
I need to edit that. I don't swear. And I'll catch up with you guys later. So good luck.
Absolutely. Thanks.
Okay, so hopefully those few interviews at the start gave you a bit of an insight into what some of the other teams' thought process was going into the event and the initial impressions of the event. The majority of those were recorded on Thursday, so it was just before the event when people were getting warm-up games in, and we had the Warhammer Ashes in the afternoon, which I'll talk about briefly. So first off, I'll talk to you about the event as a whole and try and put you in the picture. Now you can see photos of this online on Facebook, actually, the ETC media people themselves. If you type in ETC Novi Sad, which is NOVI SAD, you should be able to find it, and it's just hundreds of pictures. And there's also an ETC Team England page which has been set up as well now, and you should be able to see a lot of our guys' snaps they've been uploading over the last few days. But it'll give you some more visual impressions of what I'm going to describe to you. But basically, so the way we got from England, we went to Russ Veal's house, and he lives in Swindon, and got a ridiculously early flight at 6 o'clock in the morning from Birmingham Airport to Germany. I think it was Frankfurt. The reason being is the prices from London were just far too expensive. Got into Frankfurt, had to wait a bit, and then got a connecting flight to Belgrade. Then we got a taxi driver. Now, this was our first impressions of the event. So we come out. The first thing that hit us was, oh my God, how warm is it in this country? Because it was 45 degrees, 41, 40, between 41 and 45 degrees for the first few days we were there. It got a bit cooler during one of the days and heated back up again. And anyone who knows me knows I'm not exactly a fan of the sun. So it was hard work. So we come out into the airport and got swamped by taxi drivers, really swamped. They were like, come on, you'll need taxi. We were like, yeah, okay, we do. And they sort of gave us a price. And then we spotted, as we were waiting for a few people, someone in a yellow T-shirt that said ETC on the back. And there was this girl there. We were like, hello, are you part of the ETC? She went, yeah. She was there, supplied there to make sure we didn't get ripped off by the taxi drivers. So she renegotiated, shall we say, with the taxi drivers, and suddenly the price had come down by about €100. It was ridiculous, the saving. And
that's brilliant.
Yeah, it was. And they were meet and greet, basically. That's what they're there for, to make sure we didn't get done by the locals. So we got into this taxi driver car. First thing he does, there's no aircon. It's like an old Cavalier or something, ridiculously old car. Sparks up a cigarette, which in England is illegal, in public places and the rest of it. I don't know if it is in private hire cars, but it certainly is. It certainly is in restaurants and public places. But of course, it's not there. That's fine. It's not banned. And we were like, oh, this is odd. And he's got no aircon, so he's just got the windows open, puffing away. And we're just sitting there, waited ages. Then he needed to wait for his mates. And we're cooking. I mean, it's 40-odd degrees. And we're literally sitting right next to each other in this tiny car. Takes about an hour to get there. He pulls up to the side of the road, stops, gets out. You want a drink? No, we're all right. We just want to get to our hotel. Okay, I'll get a drink. He just parked up on the side of the road, went and get a drink, had a cigarette, come back in. Oh, yeah, we're just waiting for your friends. Okay. And then he's like, you want cigarettes? You have cigarette? No, we're fine. You want a drink? No, we're still fine. And then eventually he gets back in, then we drive. Then they drop us off on the main road. And they're like, here we go. I'm like, where's the hotel? It's over there. It's like, can you not just drop us to the door? And they sort of chat. And this took about 10 minutes to have this conversation. So we re-put our bags in the car, and then they drove us to the hotel, which was another good 15-minute walk from where he was going to drop us, because we had us and some of the Danes with us. And they dropped us midpoint between the two hotels, which are in opposite directions, but just drop us at the door. So anyway, he did eventually, and the first thing that occurred to us was, wow, how cheap is this place? It was seriously cheap. The exchange rate for us English people made things like a beer about £1 for a pint. You could get, we'll come on to it later, but basically a kebab and chips and a drink for £2.50. And pizza was, well,
you must have loved that.
Oh man, we'll talk about it in a bit, but yeah, it was super, super cheap. So that was our first things. Then we sort of come out of our hotel, walked across, and in England you wouldn't get this, but it was this massive industrial area, and we walked sort of through a gate, and it was like it looked like almost, imagine a massive car sales lot, if you like, where it's just, there's a sales office on sort of a suspended floor above a big car park area, and I don't know, factories and everything else, and it was desolate. It was completely abandoned. You expected zombies to come out, and there was stray dogs walking around. There was a pram in the middle of the road, like something from a post-apocalyptic film. There was the odd cat running around, but stray, and it was really like, oh my God, what is this place like?
So obviously it'd been very industrious at one point.
And then just
a lot of business going on.
Yeah,
there.
For whatever reason, just dried up, and it did look like something from a zombie film. And then we walked in, and suddenly we were back in civilization. You sort of walked diagonally towards the place, and you were into this massive venue with beautiful air conditioning, the best ETC venue we've been in terms of playing. The tables had massive space in, and they did so much effort. Really put on an effort. I mean, the staff, some of the ETCs, I think, how does it even run? I mean, you and I run a tournament for 200 people, and we've got, I don't know, what we got, 7 staff, something like that, 7, 8 people.
Yep.
And this had 30 plus probably. They had meet and greeters on the door. all in, and all the t-shirts are color coded. So the refs for fantasy had one color t-shirt, the refs for 40k had another color. The organisers had a t-shirt. The security staff were dressed in full samurai armor with real swords. They were the security staff. These two big guys with full-on armor, which was quite a nice touch. They had the bar staff were all dressed up in really skimpy. They're all size 10, 12 women, all in skimpy outfits. But dressed up like handmaidens or whatever, all in these bars. And there's different themed ones, it seemed. I couldn't quite get the themes, but they were all sort of fancy dressed. So one looked like a Thunderbird. I don't know if that's what she was meant to be, or whether it was meant to be an air stewardess, but she looked like a Thunderbird. And there was a couple of girls dressed up as a 40k Sister of Battle, and another sort of one like that. There's loads of stuff going on like that. It was really, really cool. And just the space, it's like a massive... it's odd because you walk into it and it's like a typical conference centre, nice, clean, sort of like marble tiled floors, all the rest of it. And then the bit we're in was like a warehouse section of it, really. But the air conditioning was amazing. You had loads of rooms around the tables. They'd made all the tables and terrain from scratch, and everything was custom built for the ETC. So at the ETC, in order to avoid, basically in fairness, they have maps, so all 8 tables on each row are identical, but at different ETCs over the years where they've borrowed terrain and made them in different places, you could be on table 1 in one row and it would have a hill that was 12 inches, and then you can go on another hill and it was 4 inches, but this was immaculate on each table. It was all the same. So you look down row 1 and all the tables were the same, and what they'd done, because it was custom built, they'd wrote like H for hill, where the centre of the hill should be underneath it. So if anyone moved anything for lunch, you could see it in black marker on the board. You just move the hill back on it. I for impassable and all this stuff. And it's just brilliant. And then the rows were alphabet letters. And in the middle of the rows, they'd sellotaped on the floor the alphabet letters. So if you wanted to know what row you were in, it wasn't like you need to look for a bit of paper on a wall or anything like that. You just looked at the floor and you could see which alphabet row you were on just by looking. So it was like little small touches like that, really, that were great. They did matchup cards, because you have this, as I explained at the beginning of the show, you have this matchup process, and we always bring super cards. We had Will Goodwin, one of the UK guys, made us some excellent ones this year, but we always make an effort to make them. But they supplied every team with cards with each individual player's name on and a picture, and all that kind of stuff. You all had badges that said like captain or player or guest on them, so everyone knew who you were, and it's all these little sort of efforts that went into it. You got a welcome pack that had the whole timetable, the ETC FAQ, all the documents regarding the tournament in one sort of, they had specially printed bound sort of thing you could pack that you could flick through. If you had any queries, you could get hold of people fairly easily. It was just really, really
obviously
good.
Quite a lot of time and effort into it. Yeah.
Organised coach journeys to and from the airport if you wanted them. And
I like the fact that they've done it right from the point you get off the plane.
Yeah, it was.
They've taken it right from there, right the way through. That's really good.
Because it's always a thing you never quite, because of, I suppose, the scarcity of venues that can hold this type of event for the cost. Historically, it's always been miles away from the airport, the ETC, and you normally have to find your own way there and everything. But having a point of contact there, it's like, there's the address. Barters with the people for you, and off you go. Really, really, really good. The only downside to me was, and I think I mentioned this in the interviews, was the toilets. They only had 3 cubicles for that many people, because the owners of the building locked all the other toilets. And they didn't really have locks on the doors. They had a screw in them and a bit of wire that you had to tie around them and hope nobody really tugged the door too hard. But and that was a bit of a problem when there was a serious amount of drinking going on with some teams, the next mornings and things. But that was really the only one. But I think the biggest thing about Serbia as a place itself, for most of us Western European places, is the cost. Nobody cared. We went out for a dinner and we had mixed grills, tons of wine, starters, puddings, sides, the lot. Got the bill. We'll just split this, shall we? £13 each, which is just insane. You can't even get pizza for 2 less than for about 30 quid, can you? So, really, really cheap. And just everyone was like, I'll get this. So we went out for lunch, and we'll mention it now. You might have seen this if you've been on Twitter. There's this thing called gyros, right, which is really kebab meat, salad and tzatziki, and chips in a wrap. It's not rocket science, but it was just great. And there was this gyros shop across the road. So most lunches we would go, right, gyros, and we'd go across, and whoever got there first got the rounding, because it was so cheap. It was like 5 people could eat for £6 or something silly like that. So you just
you want to move to Serbia?
Yeah, you would. And as males, all the women there you didn't see anybody above size 12, and some are probably, I think, we couldn't believe what was on offer, shall we say, over there in terms of, the arrangement of like beauties that were out there. There was a lot, and I think even from if that's not your thing, the males didn't look too bad either, from what I understand from some of our esteemed colleagues over on another podcast.
So Mark was happy, was he?
Yeah. So there was a lot of enjoyment, should we say there? So there's a lot of reasons to live in Serbia.
Right. But, moving on.
Yeah. So it was good. But I think that aided to the event because it's just another thing you don't worry about.
Yeah.
Anybody who's been out with an organised group knows, you always get one person who drinks a lot more than the other people, and then want you to pay for it. But there was none of that. It was just so easy to get on. And that really helped. And if you're from the Eastern European countries, and it helps you as well because it's relative. You don't have to go to like it was in Switzerland where it dropped 10 teams overnight because people can't afford it. I mean, we spent thousands over there, so it really does make a difference. It was hot, which is good for a lot of people. People enjoyed it. They enjoyed the heat. Went to the beach because it was near the river, so you could go down. Quite nice beaches and some good stuff down there.
Did you get to play football?
No, we didn't. No, to be honest, you wouldn't want it to. It was proper hot.
Yeah.
And the insects were the only other thing. I got bitten all over me, and I've got one on my finger now. I had them all over my face. You can see me in the YouTube videos if you watch it. I've got looks like I've got a lot of moles, and it's just bites. I got bitten to pieces. Typical English tourist, really. And I got them all over my shoulder.
Probably your pasty skin was glowing. They probably saw one of those lamps.
They probably did.
Dive bombed you.
Yeah, straight into me. But yeah, so there was that going on. But overall, I was actually. I think we all said this, and I can't remember on the interviews if people had mentioned this, but I think there was a lot of apprehension about where it was, how far east it was, and some of the countries it borders on and things like that. But they just cared so much, I think, is the main thing.
Yeah.
I think they had tourism students helping and a lot of people from the local education helping, and you really felt like the whole community wanted to help. Even the all the shops, they were quite friendly. The only thing that's really odd as an English person...
You think 1,000 war gamers going into that one area, that's a lot of income over the few days, isn't it?
It is. The only thing that was really odd, and it's quite clearly cultural, is the lack of customer service. Here, you wouldn't last 5 minutes in McDonald's if you talk to people like some of the people who served us did.
Yeah.
It's very much like it was the guy we had for breakfast. He sort of come out and he just looked at us, stood there and looked at us. We were like, breakfast? He went, yes. We're like, eggs? Yes. He no options, nothing. It was just very direct. And then he came out and he literally chucked the plate in front of one of us, and then just how he was. And we found this with a lot of shops as well. They were very direct and almost rude, or it appeared to us rude, but I don't think it is rude. I think it's just the culture and how it was. So that took a little bit of getting used to, but once you were used to it, it was fine. Like us, for us, good customer service is the whole, nice smiling, please, thank you, and the rest of it. But I just don't think the concept matters there. So that took a bit of getting used to as well. But so that was my sort of impressions of Serbia. I think overall I would go there again for an ETC in a second. I think it was the best all-round experience in terms of venue, support, cost, and all the rest of it. So all our fears were sort of unfounded, really. It was really, really good, and all because of the effort they put in. So how onto the actual event itself, we went onto the Ashes. Now, anybody who follows the cricket will know it's England, Australia in the cricket Ashes. Well, we have a Warhammer one. We even have a gold urn, which is currently sitting in my trophy cabinet still, as we're here. It has been for the last couple of years, and we play Australia each year. Now, we pair up exactly the same as a normal round. It is exactly the same as a normal round. Now, last year, if you missed it, I think we'd actually stopped the show at this point, and you might not have heard this story, but last year we played them in the Ashes, beat them minorly, and then because we both turned up late through a series of events, we ended up having to play each other in the first round again, and we beat them quite heavily. So this year we turned up and we played the Ashes, and again, we got a small win out of it in the end. There was no major stories from it, really. The two major games where the round swung, I would say, was we had our main man, the destroyer Russ Veal, with his Warriors of Chaos, very aggressive list we took, and our plan was very much buy his matchup, get a good one, and he will deliver it. There was a phrase we were putting on Twitter, "In Veal we trust." That's kind of how it was. And
I did see that.
Yeah, and it started off from it started off from this Ashes game, and he took the Australian number 1 player who's new to the ETC with a very quirky high elf lift he had, and he destroyed him. He got 20-0 in that game. He was told to push for points and sort of overcommitted, I think, his opponent and got beat for it. Really nice guy, and I think he went on to do quite well in the end over the events. But Russ got 20 there, which was the big swing. And the other one, which is games like this that make the ETC that they're not massively talked about, but when you see them in action are just brilliant pieces of wargaming, and that was Jack Armstrong. He drew the Warriors. He had their Warriors, and he wasn't sure it was good. We weren't sure it was good when we were pairing it, but he's like, I can take it, don't worry, I can take it. And we've got a 9th player, as many of the teams do, who like a coach and or assistant, whatever you want to call them, that goes up and down and keeps us informed of how it's going, gets us beer when we want, but generally has a really important role in keeping the team apprised of what's going on, of whether you need to risk something. And so he's coming up and he's going, Jack's going down, he's in the corner, there's stuff going off everywhere. And then he turns around and goes, actually, I think Jack will be all right. I think Jack might not be thinking this through properly. So we all finished quite quick, and Jack's still playing, he's still trying to go, and we're watching this game, and he got jacked. That's the only way of putting it. Jack does this quite a lot. You think you're beating him, and then he just eats away at you. Typical lizard men. Turn 5 or 6, it all comes off, and literally last turn, it's like he got blood crush unit, Spirit Leech, Demon Prince. It all just fell to bits. He got 10 points out of it. It might not sound an amazing story, but watching that game was an amazing story because he was proper on the back foot and scrambling for points. But he knew he needed to hold it so that we could push our advantage in the other games and that, and he did it really well. So for me, they were the two rounds of the tournament, and it was quite funny. Everyone was high-fiving him and everything else, and just laughing because it's the kind of thing he does all the time. But when you see it in a team environment, he's one of those players that you really want on your team because you know he just doesn't lose, or if he does, it's so minor it's immaterial. So that was great.
He's got to be probably the most consistent player, isn't he?
Oh, he's just ridiculous. But and it comes down to how many games he's played with that list. He was playing Lizardmen in 2008-9 when I was playing them. You know, when I was doing well, he was doing well as well, and he carried on playing them. And you think that's so much experience. 3 ETCs behind him. You know, a super good player, but super experienced, and you know, the two go together very well. Now, the only other one that was interesting was, and I'm sure this will get talked about in the Bad Dice podcast, is Sam Moore, who's one of the Australian guys. He beat the main man Ben Curry 20-0, I believe I want to say, and he was so happy about it. I think he said he was going to dine out for weeks on that result and everything else. And you know, I mean, Ben's like awesome sport and was taking it really well. But yeah, that was quite a funny game. I'm sure I'll leave him to tell that story. But yeah, really quite funny how much he was pleased that he beat Ben 20. So that was good. And then the only other thing to say is I actually thought their list caught us out in the Ashes a little bit because you don't know how they're doing. You had like one with a Moon Dragon and a Dragon Mage and things, and Tomb King list that had 4 units that could start beneath the sands and come up. So there was a lot of quirky lists that aren't net lists, and we weren't sure how they were going to do. And you know, it caught us out in a few places, and it made it very close. So that was, and you know, congratulations really to Australia for running us so tight. I was genuinely worried at one point that we weren't, because there was a couple of results still to come in. At one point, when I'd finished my game, we were down, we were losing. But it's, you know, it's just the round. As the round progresses, results start to happen, and we held on for the win. So that was good. So once again, England retained the Ashes, and I'm very pleased with that. So well done, guys. Now we went out with the Ashes. We went out with the Aussies in the evening to this place I was telling you about that cost us about £13 each. There was massive. It was right next to the river. Brilliant views. Really nice place. There's nothing really to tell about that except Nick Pym found a bear head. You know, like in American films, you get those bear heads that people have mounted to the wall. Yeah. He found one and pulled it off and was walking around with it sort of on his head, which was quite funny. There's a picture of that as well somewhere. As you do. I don't know if the people. The actual hosts of it were very pleased with that, but hey ho, it was good fun. So that was good. Loads of like fish, like they served a fish soup, and it come on like a rack that was with a bowl that was hanging, and there was just a raw fish just there, like a whole massive fish bone just sitting there in the soup, so you could help yourself. really, really good. And yeah, just an absolute bargain. So that was kind of the way we finished off. We had a really good night with the Aussies, actually. It was quite nice. Last year, I think some of their team didn't. We went back to their sort of villa, and I think some of their team weren't really keen on us almost intruding, and some of them were. This was really nice as everybody was up for it, and it was really, really good. So fantastic night out with them, really good chat, and we just had a good chat about the Warhammer scene in Australia, and you get to know the guys and just have a really good chat and what the expectations are for the ETC. It's just a really nice warm up, really, but with some real importance on the lines. It's the ultimate practice round, really. And that was that. So we turned up on the Friday because you pay 2 games each day, and all the teams start pouring in, and a lot of them have got crazy fancy dress on related to their country. So the USA guys, I don't know if you've seen any of these pictures, Wayne, but they're literally every single piece they're wearing is donned in Stars and Stripes. So you got guys in Stars and Stripes leggings with shorts with Stars and Stripes, headbands, t-shirts, flags, all sorts. Everyone is. So you got those guys.
It's quite surprising, isn't it? Because usually Americans are so understated, aren't they?
Yeah, and the thing is, we were talking.
They never big themselves up.
No, we were talking to them about this, and they just. It's sort of like bring it on. It's that kind of they enjoy playing up to that image.
You do want to see that though, don't you?
Because
it just adds to it all.
It's all part of the event. I remember probably an interview you're going to hear after this, talking to him about it, and it's one of those things you want to see.
Yeah.
It would miss something if it didn't have that over the topness that they bring with it sometimes. And you had like the Danish guys wearing the traditional Danish dress, which they did at the Olympics, which is literally full body flags and like these weird crowns, and they do this little dance thing at the between the rounds and things. It's just quite funny. You had the security guards walking around in their full armor. You had cosplay people walking around in, as I say, like Sisters of Battle and all that kind of stuff. It was really, really good. So that's kind of the thing when you walk in the morning. It's obviously packed. It's kind of like a real festival thing. Everyone's starting to build tension for the main sort of first games. And there's a big captain's meeting, usual thing, behave, don't be idiots, that kind of stuff. And then they got this girl to come up with not a lot on, and sort of you picture people pick teams out of the hat, and they got paired. So it went out, and first out the hat, Australia. Well, not first out the hat, but halfway through, we still haven't been paired. Australia get drawn, and everyone goes, ooh, and you hear someone go, England's, like that. Next one out the hat, England. And of course the cheer goes up and it says that 2 years in a row we've had the Ashes and then Australia. I was over the moon for 2 reasons. one, they're great guys to play against. You're not going to have any trouble. It's going to be a really good round. But obviously, secondly, we thought this is a big one. We've seen what they got. We know we can do this. So we went back and we got a massive win. It was 119 points out of the 160 about. So we really did a much better job that round, which was really, really good. And we got some good matchups like we did in the Ashes. I mean, in the Ashes, I had a good matchup against Demons. That was a good win. And like in this one, I got the Wood Elves, and it was like, okay, let's go. Some good draws, basically, that put us into some good positions. So that was good. Done. Nothing really to say about that. I think the guys were disappointed, but it happened 2 years in a row. The quirky lists only get you so far, and once you've seen them and you understand them, it's much more simpler to have a go again. So it's that was good. So that got us off to a good start.
In the Ashes, do you have to take the same list?
Yeah,
that's a rule in it, isn't it?
Yeah, we've always just done it.
That's what I'm saying, because considering it's happened 2 years in a row, it'd probably be in their benefit to actually use a different list in the Ashes.
Yeah, do you know what? Sometimes there probably is a bit of that. I think it might be something that could, if Australia felt it hampered their competitive edge, then I don't think we'd have a massive issue with it, because I'm not sure they can particularly we could submit it to, I don't know, some random referee or someone that we know impartial and use different lists if we wanted, but I honestly don't think we're that gamey about it. We just go and play what we play. But yeah, it's a fair point, actually. It is a fair point. So yeah, disappointed for them, I think, because they didn't need that early on. We obviously took it with open arms, but that was that. But then for our trouble, we got Team Russia. Now, Russia, they've got a mix of some very, very jovial, nice guys and some seriously straight-faced, Russian guys that how you would stereotypically imagine Russian guys, really, I suppose. Very straight-faced, don't say a lot of words, and sometimes I find that not the most enjoyable game, if I'm honest. But that's just because of how we are. We like the banter and the jovialness, and you don't always find that. So, and we actually got smashed by them. We still can't really work out why. I think it was a combination of bad matchups, bad dice, some bad play. We were a bit rusty. Some of the guys were rusty. Lots of different reasons we got smashed. The lower cap 60, we got 63, so we didn't quite get capped, but we did get seriously kicked in, which was a bit of a shame. And our heads didn't drop too much because we knew from previous ETCs we'd never won more than 4 rounds at an ETC. Even last year when we come third, we had only won 4 rounds, so we thought we can lose one now. It's fine. You can still win the event. It's seriously fine because all that happens later is big teams start playing and they don't get big wins. So a bit like a 20-0 tournament. Quite often the winner might have only won.
He'll lose a game early on, but then he'll have an easier run.
Submarining, they call it, don't they? Or trampolining, whichever way you want to look at it. It does happen. So we weren't too down about that, but I think we were frustrated that we could have done better there. Not one person thought, that it should have been a problem. So that was a bit of a shame. So that was a Friday. So the 2 games were out of the way, and it was an organised party night. So they rented out this big place. I think it was called the Gunpowder House, which was a massive restaurant place, and you paid €20 and you got sort of a buffet thing that was brought out, which wasn't amazing. It wasn't kind of very well structured. It just appeared at your table at different points. But you had all you can drink at the bar. It was free, so you literally just went up and ordered what you want. So we had like what can only be described as vases of wine and beers all evening. And what the organisers put on was an organised tug of war. Did you see any of these photos?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
Oh, amazing. Russ Veal, anybody who knows Russ Veal knows on the table sometimes he can be quite straight-faced. But when he's had a few, he is hilarious. And he was on our tug of war team. So we had him, because it's four men at a tug of war team. We had Russ, Chris Legg, who are quite, decent sized guys. Nick Pym, who's literally, we call him the Beast. He is the Beast. He's big, built, heavy. And then we had Jack, who's like the fittest man on the wargaming scene at the front with his guns pulling it. And we destroyed like loads of people right up to the final. And like the USA was the best one because obviously there was a load of like lots of screaming and shouting, and it was a bit like Primal in places with people shouting and like roaring. And is it the Hakar, that thing they do with it? The rugby.
The All Blacks.
Yeah. There was a bit of that going on between like Jack and some other people. It's quite funny, really. It was a really good laugh. It sounds really a bit odd when you listen to it back, but if you were there, it was all part of the atmosphere. It was like this very carnival atmosphere. And so we destroyed people, and there was all this like high five and stuff going on. And then in the semi-finals, we played Germany, and I think it was meant to be fantasy teams, but they got a ringer from the Flames of War team, and this guy is a giant. Have you seen Game of Thrones?
Yeah.
You know the Dothraki horse lord that Daenerys Targaryen marries at the beginning? Big, massive guy, like 7 foot built. He was like that. He was a giant of men, and he was just like, bang, one-handed tight. It was almost like that, like one-handed. You're all gone. See you later. Nick Pym flat on his back. There's a photo of Nick Pym just literally sprawled out just after it, and he got taken out. So that was really good fun, and they won it. Surprisingly enough, I think it was the Irish there to play in the final. They got some proper heavyweight guys, and he just was like, bang, you're dead. So that was really good. And the whole night was just great. They had an old guy on a keyboard and a woman like cabaret, and they just played loads of quirky songs like from Motown right the way across all the different genres and stuff. And it was just fun, and there were people there till early hours just dancing and mucking around. Some brilliant photos on Facebook if you want to check those out. That's all I'm going to say with that. Just some really good ones over the evening as people got more and more intoxicated, should we say. And look, I think the last few standing involved 2 English people. So it was really good, and it's missed that the ETC the last few years. The last time it felt like that was in Munster in 2010. Everybody used to go to the same pub, this little pokey pub that everyone just used to converge on. But this was organised, and it was brilliant. You could talk to people all night. We had loads of conversations out, and it was a lot of people hanging around in the courtyard outside, and people inside doing whatever, eating, drinking. So really, really cool. And they had other competitions as well. They had, the old skull a pint thing where you down a pint as quick as you can and put it on your head. Yeah. They did that, and several of those, I think, actually, to see who did that. I think it was Sam Moore, the Australian guy, I think, that won it. But some seriously quick people that could drink pints doing that. And I can't remember, I'm sure there was another competition. And then afterwards, they decided they would do a speed painting competition after everybody got completely levered on the beer. And it gave you extra points on the overall shield prize and stuff like this. So, I don't actually think we entered it at the end. Our guys were too hammered, but there was some. I don't know what the standard of it was, but it was good fun. So that led on to the Saturday, which, as you can imagine, I think a lot of people were unprepared about how that night was going to go, and there was a lot of like sorry faces on the Saturday morning from a lot of the teams. Around, there was a big queue for the toilet, usual kind of thing on a Saturday, which is good. And we drew Team Singapore. Now, Singapore, I can't say how much I enjoyed this round. They were great guys, really, really. I didn't know what to expect. You see them walking around, and you get this kind of like, again, you always stereotypes, isn't it? And you think, sort of, those kind of Asian guys be really straight faced, but they had a brilliant sense of humour, really, really fair. Brought us an awesome gift. It was like I've got it in my bag actually, not too far from where Wayne's sitting, and it's like a the stuff that advertising boards are made out of, like almost foam boardy type stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like a 4-sided foam board that's got every misfire chart or chart in the game on it over 2 sides, and it says ETC Singapore, and they gave it to all their opponents, big stack of them they had, and they were giving them all out. We trade dice and little presents like that, but they gave all those out, so that was a really nice touch. And they were just they were really good actually. Germany didn't cap them. We didn't cap them, we beat them, but it was tight. And I think a few other teams went on to have really tight games against them, and I think everyone was surprised. And the prep those guys put in, I think, was immense. Really, really good. They'd like minuted meetings every week, and I think they even kicked off a couple of their guys off their team to get better ones in at a late minute and all this kind of stuff. So
they took it seriously.
Yeah, full on seriously. But also in the best way. On the tables, they were straight down the line. There was no mucking around, no gaminess, and just a good laugh. So really impressed with that. And I played their vampire player who was great fun, really knew what he was doing, strong guy. So really, really enjoyed that round. Probably there's no probably about it. It was my most enjoyable round of the whole round, really. I think we voted them. I can't remember if we voted them or Sweden in the end, but it was sort of a tie between the players as who wanted who were we going to give our best opponents to. So ruining that for later, but yeah, we did play Sweden. And then there was only one thing I'd noted from that round on my notes, which was there's a couple of things I like in Warhammer, especially in team events when you get to see it. One is when someone fancies the game and they're deployed on the 12-inch line. I think I've mentioned this before, and normally they don't deploy on the 12-inch line and everything's on the 12-inch line. They're going to go for it. I love that. And the other one I like is when you get somebody who has a certain way of playing, and like Ben Curry and his Dark Elves, I've played him so many times over the years and seen him play so many times, and he has this very set way of when he's playing it tight and it all goes in corner, in thin lines, good reforms, and really really knows how to play that kind of game. And he starts off against a Skaven player, and I was joking about he'd given someone the full Curry experience. It started off tight, the guy had almost got bored and ran at him. Then Ben started zapping him with death magic and shooting and taking all his bits and models off. And then the guy literally turned his Storm Vermin around with all his characters and tried to run away. And then just Ben swarmed out of this corner at him with his Dark Elves. Really, really cool. And I think, again, there's some photos of that going on. But yeah, really enjoyable when you see some of your teammates doing that kind of stuff. So that was good. And yeah, good win there. We then played France, which over the years we've had on and off. That I wouldn't say they've been our most favourite opponents for lots of different reasons, but I know some of the guys there don't speak as good English as some of the other teams, which can cause a little bit of you not to enjoy it as much, and a few other little issues that I'm not going to go into here. But overall, yeah, fine. We had an okay game. Russfield played their ogre player, and he thought he played a really good blinder, but Russ still beat him 20-0. But he thought he was exceptionally good with the way he played, and was trying to hold on to the win until the last few turns. So that was good. And another couple of other people. I think Ben Johnson had a really good game against one of their guys playing. I think it was a Skavenov they were playing, and had a good game. So there was a mixture of games down the line. I played a Bretonnian guy, and that ended up being quite a bloody game in places. So bit of a mix, but again we won that one. And now these 2 rounds we didn't what they call cap. We didn't get the maximum points, but we won. And that was the important bit. So we were racking up the wins, moving up slowly up the tables, and that was kind of the Saturday night done. So we decided this time, after the heavy night last time, to have a bit of a team meal, and we went out to the restaurant next to the hotel and ordered again starters, mains. It was the waiter didn't speak much English, but by this time we'd got to know how the food is there, and it's a lot of meats and cheese for starters, and then meat. And the guy only knew 2 words: mixed grill. That's all he knew. So when he came out, we sent him ham, meat, and he's like, ham, yeah, ham. We're like, ham and cheese. He kind of got cheese, so he brought out plates of cheese, ham, bread. Everyone had a mixed grill. but it was a massive plate, and he knew chips. So we looked up on Google Translate and went that, and he went, yeah, cheap. We could have said that one. And he brought out massive platters of stuff, and we did that. Loads of drink, although we took it a bit easy this time. And again, like some silly price, like £14 each or something. And that was really, really good and just a bit quieter. And everyone went to bed fairly early. That one ready for the next day. So Sunday, we got up, and it's the last day. We know we need 200s here, so everybody is going for it.
Is anyone flagging by this point?
No. I mean, we're professionals. We've been. This is
we've been drinking 2 nights in a row. Is anyone a bit worse for wear?
No. Actually, it was
just mentally drained because playing Warhammer over a long period of time, it can be very mentally draining. Can't it?
It is, especially at this level when everybody's so good. There's no easy games. Well, there might be in the first couple of rounds if you start off down the bottom tables and you're in a good matchup. But generally, even in the easy matchups, the pressure's on to get big wins.
Yeah.
Often, I find it's easier if you're expected to lose than it is if you're expected to win. I mean, Russfield did a fantastic job over the weekend. I think his results were something like 2020, 2019 to 2020 or something ridiculously good. And in order to get those, he had to play really, really well. It's very hard, I think, to get 20s at ETC when you're expected to do it, even in a good matchup. So, it's very mentally draining, I think, for everybody. So nobody was flagging as such, but we knew the pressure was on here. We thought, to get a good finish, it was still on for third. We could still get third, maybe even second if the results fell our way. So we were really on for it. We thought, we're going to go for 200, and we took some risks. But what we'd realised over the event, and it kind of happened after Friday, is what a lot of teams were scared of was playing Empire. Nobody wanted to play him. We didn't want to play him. It was bad. Orcs and Goblins and Empire was bad for us.
Yeah.
And I think it was for everybody. When we spoke to the Australians, they were like, didn't want to play Empire. And, I'd got a couple of good matchups early on in the tournament and got some good solid wins. And then it became apparent that if we gave me up in some of the early pairings and let them pick a good matchup for them, they'd take it instantly because it looked good on their matchup sheet. But it brought us some really, really pucker ones. And as a result, we did a similar thing in this day. On this day, we knew if we were going to get 100, we needed to do it. And even in the games I was expected to lose, I still went to try and get big wins because it was what we needed to do.
Yeah.
And everybody did. You could see it across the pack. So we played Bulgaria, who 50% of them play on the English scene. But I'd never really played him. I played Haristo, the captain, who I'd never played. He seemed like a really nice guy. He knew what he was doing, played Dwarfs to probably the best I'd seen it. So that was really, really good. And he was a nice guy. I think we finished. Everybody else was on about turn 2 by the time we deployed because I knew it was going to be a quick game. And we finished before everyone else. It was a really quick game. So that was really good. And we got... we had a good round against those guys, and we did. We just got 100 points that we needed, I think. So everyone was proper fired up for the last game going in. The only thing I said to everybody is, all I want from the last game is an easy game. There's probably only 3 or 4 teams that I don't like playing at ETC for different reasons. Cultural differences, gaminess, language barriers, lots of different reasons. But there's only about 4 teams out of the 32 that I wouldn't want to play. And some teams I really want to play. And the Swedes were my tip for the... for a top 3 this year. Really keen. We've had Anders from Team Sweden on our show before. We spoke to them at the South Coast, and they've been really keen. They put a lot of prep in, and they were up there, and we drew them. And I was so happy, not because I thought it'd be easy, but because I knew that the games would be good, that they were fair. They played in a similar style to us, and it was going to be good. And that's all you want at the end of a 6-game tournament. As you said, people flag, people getting... some of us getting down for the results, and there's a lot of ups and downs. It's a topsy-turvy emotional ride, really. And to get that last round was fantastic. So play the Swedes, we pair up, same deal. We bought a couple of bad ones, but we've got some absolutely brilliant ones. And again, in Vil we trust. We were there, and we were like, right, Rush, you can get a big win here. We had the Demons in a good matchup, and really tight round again, but we did get our win. We got our win in the end. But it was a crazy round, Literally last dice, I watched a lot of it because I finished quite early. And Ben Johnson's playing Skaven. So, and this is, as a coach, it'd be interesting to hear if I know anybody listens to our podcast, listens to Bad Dice as well, but be interesting to hear Mark Wildman talking through this as well, because he had it firsthand in all the rounds. But we were watching the last rounds. We knew we've got the scores that are in already on a bit of paper, and we've calculated what we need to get 100, and we're sort of counting down from this 100. Right, you need this, you need more points. Go, 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 go. Push, get points. Don't get points. All that kind of stuff. There's constant discussion with players about what they need to achieve and where they are. And most people have got iPads, so we've got spreadsheets. So we type in the scores as we kill units, and anyone can walk past and see what we're doing, and you can see the scores going up and down. And then obviously as experienced war gamers, you can tell what people are going to lose as they go. And this last round, so Ben Johnson's playing the Beastman player. He's not sure it's going very well, but me and Mark are both like, it'd be fine. Ben's good, not a problem at all. And he got himself slowly back into it, and it come to it, and he said, I got a long charge with the A-bomb. I can put it into, it was like a gore unit with all the characters, like the Stubborn Beast Lord, the Battle Stand, all the rest. And he's like, I can put this in here. And we went, he said, but I could lose the A-bomb. It's a tournament point. And we're like, we need points. Put it in. He gets the charge, goes in, rolls 6 impact hits, 6 dead, rolls the 6 result on the avalanche of flesh, isn't it? 2d6.
2d6, strength 6 automatic.
Yeah, 2d6, double 6. No ones, 12 dead. Holds, doesn't die. So the player's got his following turn. He's got literally like a cutlet. He's got 1 gore left because Thunderstomp 5 dead, right? So he literally has level 4. I think it was level 4, or level 4 BSB. All his characters. There's about 6 characters and a gore left. So if that A-bomb gets to fight, he's in a serious trouble. So the guy realises the only way he can deal with it is to 4 dice of purple, because you can only 4 dice maximum if you had death. 4 dice of purple sun through the A-bomb. But when he did it, it would mean he clipped his own Beast Lord, which has got high initiative, but still. So he does it, clips his own Beast Lord, who's the only one keeping the unit stubborn, and rolls a 6 and kills his Beast Lord. And we're just like, the cheer goes up. We're like, yeah. And then but Ben's still got to roll his test. If Ben rolls 1 to 4, he's getting that whole unit. It's like 20-0. He rolls a 5 and dies. So we lost. We still gained some points by him charging, because we got like half the points of the unit and the Beast Lord and stuff. But like that was a big turning point in the round where we could have really, because we third was still on at this point. So that goes down, moves to the next table. They finish. Ben gets a good win. Go to the next table. Jack's playing. Last turn, he's like, we need points. I'm like, yep. So he carries on casting Death Snipes. He manages to get the guy's battle standard, but then he drops his slan down a hole in doing so. So there's another 2 tournament points gone, right? So that one falls. And then we, in my game, it was over very quickly. I've got a Light Council Empire list, and I think it was four knights or something failed to, the 12 trolls failed to kill them. One, I think it was 1 came out or something similar. Anyway, whatever it was, one of them hit my bunker. Leadership 9 with a reroll, 10 off the board, gone. That's like however many points. That was a massive loss. And that was all in one round. You look at it, and it worked out something like, we think, I haven't seen the final scores, but someone was telling us it was 4 points to 4th place. So you think of all those different things, and that was in a few turns over one round. 4 points is all that matters at the end of it, between that where we finished, which was 6th, and 4th. So we were kind of disappointed with 6th after 3rd last year, but we'd run 5 rounds out of the 6, which is the first time we've ever done that. And 32 countries, 6th, that's a pretty good result, I think, in the end. I was
considering how close the points were at the end, how tight it all was.
Yeah. I mean, I was a bit downbeat because I always think we should be trying to go for the top 5. Last year I said top 5. We'd never had a top 10 before last year, and I said top 5, and we were, I suppose, lucky in a way, and we not lucky, but things fell right for us, and we got 3rd place last year. I think we were slightly unlucky this year with 6th. We could have been 3rd. It was on, but overall, I think everybody was okay with the result. It's not a disaster, is it, by any means?
No.
Winning 5 rounds is the first time we've ever done that. It's just we didn't quite capitalise, and there was a lot of reasons for it, which I won't bore people with. But we've reviewed our own performance, and we understand where we could have done better, really. But overall, the ETC itself for me was just a fantastic experience. As I said, I didn't massively enjoy myself on the gaming tables, but I don't always. I did in some games. Some games are really, really good, especially against the Aussies, the Singapore round. That they were my most enjoyable rounds for me. And even the Swedish guy, we were denied a game, really, because once my bunker panic turn 3, was it? And the steam tank got hit by 2 stone throwers on like turn 2 or something, and 6 wounds, 4 wounds, whatever, died. It was just disintegrated. We didn't really have a game. So, but he was a nice guy as well. So I still had fun. it just wasn't as amazing as say Denmark was this year on the tables. But the whole event itself was brilliant, and it was all the extras that went with it. The only thing I did feel, and it might have been because of the way I was being used for bad matchups, is I felt a little bit like some of the lists were a bit simple, Simon, and in what they did in terms of, if we look through my games. When I was running at people, it was really exciting. When I wasn't running at people, it was really boring. I played dwarfs. It had 3 cannons and a stone thrower, and it just literally shot and took stuff off. I played orc and goblins that had 2 doom divers, 2 stone throwers, and snipes, and that's all it did. I played Bretonians, and all he did was shell me with trebs and heroic killing blow. My steam tank, that was the game. I played. What else did I play? The vampires. It was. My entire dead pile against the vampires was I didn't lose one model in combat. I killed all his models that I killed in combat. He only killed mine from death magic and high rolling banshees. So it felt a little bit like some of the games were a bit decided on one tricks, and I think that's why I didn't feel like it was like, oh my god, that was an amazing game, because it was very much like just a couple of tricks going off. And I'm not sure if that was just the matchups though, rather than anything comp specific. But that was my impression of sort of how that went.
And also, the players are instructed to play a certain way, aren't they?
Yeah,
If they're told like you just do that, you don't take any risks. That's all you need to do. Then. And
in fairness, my army was reasonably combat based, so I suppose you wouldn't want to run into 8 demigryphs and a lot of light magic and stuff. Yeah. So it was exceptionally good when it got into combat, and it just didn't. It just failed to do it. Because my units were getting shot off. So, that was really...
That's the thing with the Empire, isn't it? It's quite aggressive anyway, but once the buffs go off...
Yeah.
It's very hard.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I had Heavens and Light, and when it got in combat, the combos were silly. You could go Ice Shard Blizzard for -1 on 2 dice. You could go reroll the ones, that spell you love, for the armor saves.
Yeah, I love that.
Speed of Light for all 2 dice spells for weapon skill 10. You can Time Warp on 3 dice for an extra attack, always strike first. Like, the buffs were immense that you could do. So
it's amazing because you play that game, you kind of look at it, stat lines, you think, I'll be all right here.
Yeah.
And also you have that good magic phase and you just look at it. Oh.
Yeah.
It's like the Lizardmen when suddenly the Temple Guard get buffed and you just, they're awesome.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to talk about Lizards next show, but there's definitely, you've got to consider the magic buffs as well. So that was the event. Reasonable finish. Great time had by all. I think a lot of people, for those people who didn't do 2010 or before, this was the best ETC for most people because the social side was there again.
Do you think they'll get it next year?
At the minute, France have, but they had a problem with their venue and they're struggling. They've also got a problem with dates. So I'm fingers crossing that that they put in again for next year because cost-wise, it's so good. If you book early, you can get they can get the flights a lot cheaper than what we got, and it would be good, I think, for everybody if that went back there.
Yeah.
Providing they're not burnt out. I mean, I'd imagine they probably just don't want to hear anything for 6 months now after the effort they put in.
It might be different. They might run such a high for running such a good event, especially if all the feedback's similar to what you've been given. They might be over the moon about it.
Definitely. So that was ETC. Overall, really, really good. Sunday night we went out. Sunday night the ETC is normally the best night. A few of our team, let's just say, there was a long gap, which is when I did the interviews you're about to hear, from the end of Game 6 and the awards ceremony, and some of our team managed to go through a serious amount of drink in that time and didn't quite make it past 12 o'clock, unfortunately. They put themselves to bed. There's 2 of them put themselves to bed. I won't name names. And then the rest of us went into town, down the main strip in town. Brilliant place to be. Really kind of just felt like some of the other places we've been, really. It was a nicer part of town, you didn't have any issues, and there was just masses of wargamers everywhere you look. The Danes are out there. There was some shenanigans, I'll tell you off mic, that were interesting. There was Nick Pym, our Demons player, decided he'd go in and didn't like the music, so he asked the girl if he could change it, and they had like an electronic DJ station. It ended up DJing the whole night in there, basically. And it kept, because no one was in there, it's just him DJing and playing the tunes outside. So he come out the window at one point and sort of open arms went, "Any requests?" And we all looked at him like, "What?" He's like, "I'm DJing." And apparently they offered him a job if he wanted to come and DJ 5 nights a week or something. Just really random stories that went on, really. And he had a great night. I wasn't sure what time we got back, and then a lot of the guys started flagging. I was up for a really big night. It was still 2 a.m. or so by the time we went back, but I thought it would be a 4-5 type job. But we went back, and then a lot of the New Zealand guys were outside our hotel because they were staying having a beer, and we went to an off license, proper sort of like 17-year-old kiddie style, and bought a lot of beer, and we were drinking it in a square at one point, and then everyone decided to go back to the bars, and I still had these 2 ciders, so I sat out there and drank some cider with the New Zealand guys before calling it a day and going to bed. So that was it, really. That was ETC, and then the next day,
hobo.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, and then the next day we just had this massive trek back. But I actually kind of like traveling when you're in an ETC team because you got all your mates there, you know, yeah, and everybody's pumped. Everybody, I think, out the team. Out the 9 of us, 8 of us have got iPads, and we've got army lists, and we've got army books on them, and we're just sitting there. What do you think of this list? What do you think of that list? People handing iPads between each other and just chatting about it. You know, I got my notes down for this show of the main points, what people thought, reminding myself of, you know, the main events, and just a good time. I mean, it was a long trek. We left. We had to get up at. We left Novi Sad at 12, and I got in at 4 a.m. the next morning. So it was quite a trek between driving and everything else, but well worth it. And I'm normally the last couple of years when I come back from ETC, I've been really needing a break. I feel the opposite.
You've been completely washed out, haven't you, the last few years? I'm
the opposite this year. I just want to play. I want to get going. I want to play some tournaments and kill some noobs. So it's going to be good. I'm looking forward to the rest of the year now. We'll talk about next show what I've been up to. But I've pulled my vampires out. I've got my new lizard book there. My £55 special edition book. It's got gold pages, man. It's well worth every penny.
I naively owned out, did I? I goes, £55. Well, what's extra? And it's just the cover. It's a padded cover.
It's got gold leaves, man.
And it's got the end of the face.
Yeah.
25 quid for that.
Yeah.
Extra.
It's not particularly amazing. So,
but then I'll point out if it was a Skaven one, I want to do exactly the same.
It does look beautiful. So so next show is going to be Lizard Forts. So I'm going to leave you with these interviews, and then we're going to come back and wrap up the show. So I'm here in the awards ceremony. I'm standing with the German coach. Now you guys, we think, have won the event. Do you agree, or is this the feeling?
At this moment, we think so too. It's about the tiebreaker because the battle points are the same as Italy.
Yeah. Tight. And that last round looked intense. It went down to one game, didn't it?
Yes. It was... we needed 3 points out of this last game.
You're looking for me? Sorry.
Yeah. We've just been joined by Niels, the German captain. I'm just talking about how this last round went and whether you guys have won. I know we're standing waiting for the awards. I saw all your teammates running to you and hugging. Was it that close?
Yeah. We only won by victory points.
Yeah. So. Yeah. And we're waiting to confirmation for this, but are you guys confident that the tiebreaker works in your favour? Yeah, I'm getting a nod. It's good. And what did it come down to? I see there was a crowd of people around on table 1. You as the dwarf player, you had an anvil and things in the corner. Did I hear that you managed not to wound with 3 war machines and a lot of change or something like that?
Yeah. I had 2 rounds of shooting, and it was not successful. I had 1 wound for full shooting on the lot of change and didn't make a wound or even a hit. And then he charged my longbirds. And I think I made about 4 wounds on that lot of change in this close combat. And in the other rounds of shooting, I only killed the soul grinder. And that's it for the rest of the game.
Oh, nice.
Of course. Very nice. And then he charged with his 2 remaining wounds my crossbow man. And I held the combat and made a wound. And there was a second round of combat, and I made a second wound. And then he was down.
Excellent. And that did look tight. Did you win the round overall? How did that go? Did you go down?
Not really.
No.
I was calculating the outcome of this round for so many times, and it went up and down so many times. I threw my piece of paper away for so many times because I thought, that's the killing blow. Now Italy has got it.
I remember walking up and passing you and said, how's it going? And you were like, I don't know. I don't know how it's going. And I've got to say, it must be really, really stressful watching it as a non-player. You can't do anything about it and seeing the ups and downs as they go.
In fact, the players on the tables, they don't know how close this really was. They just have eyes on their own game and say, okay, I'm winning this or I'm losing it. I cannot do anything about it. So
I had no idea until I finished my game. And all were screaming on me, you need 3 points! It's only 3 points! And then we were calculating, and I made the 73, and everyone was screaming, and fantastic. Great. Absolutely fantastic.
And what do you guys think you've been very successful over several ETCs. What do you think is the key to the success of the ETC?
I think In my point of view, you have to bring a strategy that you don't get any high losers.
Yes.
So, if you can manage it, that overall on your tables, the greatest lose is maybe a 14-6 or something, then it's 8th edition. So, someone will win.
Yeah.
Of course, someone will win. And if you don't get defeated on any tables, then you will win.
Yeah,
of
sure.
course. Maybe the other way around is to bring 8 armies, only scorer armies.
Yeah.
So some will be crushed and some will make their points, but that's quite difficult because you have to bring it on the table.
Yeah.
So the other way around, it's more easier because you can hide in the corner and play not very interesting Warhammer, just hide in the corner and cast.
Sure. And I mean, did you guys prepare a lot? I know we've had this conversation off mic over a beer, but you did do quite a bit of preparation, didn't you?
Yes, I guess you're more successful the more time you spend in preparation, test games, test weekends. We've had a lot of them.
Yeah.
Some of the guys are playing regularly, almost every day on using Skype and this universalbattle.com.
Oh, yeah. Good.
So I think our this Freedom Man with his demons.
Yeah.
I think he made 150 test games or something like this.
Right, okay. Yeah, we need to thank him for the list. We did well. We did well with that. Yeah.
And he made 108 points. So it's
brilliant.
Yeah, we were really looking forward to pressure him into quite good games.
Yeah, sure. We did similar with our Warriors. I've got to let you guys go by the looks of it because we're going to get some awards. So good luck in the award ceremony and thanks for talking to me.
Yes, thank you.
So I'm here, it's ETC, it's Sunday, everyone's standing around drinking and waiting for what I presume is the results ceremony. And I'm standing with some guys from New Zealand, which is great, and some guys from Australia, so it's even better. So, Actor, how do you think you've done this weekend?
I think we did really well as a unit. I don't think we've done as well as we've done last year because we're going to look at the results. But I think we placed ourselves in a position that we were better off. The first 2 games, games 4 and 5, we were in a place that we've never been before. Yeah. So we played the Russians in 4. We then went a bit further down, and and that was great for us. And we played Sweden. So it's actually Sweden 4, Russia 5. Okay. And for us, they're good teams, and we played tough teams and. We never had that before. No. So I think we pushed ourselves really well. We got hammered a little bit against the Russians and against the Finns. We got beaten, but last game of the table, so we pushed everything forward, tried to have a bit of fun.
Yeah.
But it was really good. So I think we actually, as a team, did better than we did last year, but we didn't score as well.
Sometimes you find that with the ETC. You don't get the result in the end that you think you deserve. We've certainly found that. I mean, you think we've played the Russians and the Swedes, and we're going to finish maybe top 5, and you've played the Russians and the Swedes.
Yeah.
It's that means you were playing at a high level at some point.
Well, the perspective we got, and we didn't realise that until after. Swedes got to, I think they got the warm-up, and they came joint with Germany, and they came back. Germany beat them. So we got 75 off them, and we thought that was a really good result against the Swedes. That was great. We had a couple of things that went the wrong way for us against Russia. We might have got a few points there, but we didn't.
Yeah.
But I think we actually did definitely play better.
Good. And obviously we should ask about the main prize when it comes to Australia and New Zealand. Who's finished higher?
Well, I really hate to say it, but we've beaten them again. Yeah. And it's all good.
Good. You've got to be happy with that. So from a New Zealand point of view...
All we care about is the head-to-head. We're 2 up on you. So.
No. We beat you in tug of war at the drinks, and we're higher on the battle points. Yeah. So, it's all good.
Good. And how do you feel that the New Zealand team have got on this weekend? We were talking off mic, so I know it's a bit of a repetition, but...
We're a little disappointed. We're down on the bottom third of the tables. But... we've got a lot of inexperienced players. It's kind of who can come over for New Zealand at the moment. And when the tail wags, we do all right. And when they don't, we don't do so well. Yeah. But overall, we're pretty happy. I think everyone's had a good time. It's the main thing.
And did both of you have new guys this ETC?
Most of the team were new for us.
And how have they found it?
We managed to snag one of the Aussies over this year for us.
So New Zealand nicked Simon off us.
So you're not bitter though. That's the
No, not bitter at all. We're not really happy that they lost. No, we got 2 new guys.
Yeah.
Well, actually, Casey Girl and Aaron, and they've turned out to be stellar for us. They've scored, really well.
Yeah.
And that's why we think we've done really well. We placed ourselves in a good position. We had 6 experienced players, and it goes back to the statements I've already said, and people have been telling me. Experience in the ETC makes a massive difference.
Yeah, really. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, definitely. We really struggle with guys who just haven't played enough games under ETC setting. And if you haven't played enough games under there, you just don't know what to expect. You haven't played in the meta, it's so different to normal Warhammer.
Yeah. And what did you find that did the new guys perform all right in the end? Or?
Yeah, my guys, Katie is stellar. She's done really hammer. She's the queen of the corner.
Yeah.
She was really
the rat lady.
The rat lady. Yeah. She was getting thrown out to the wolves all the time, and she did brilliantly. And Aaron had a bit of a shaky start, but he had some pretty bad matchups.
Yeah, he played us twice.
It didn't help him, and Russ gave him a good, good shellacking
demonstration. If it makes you feel any better, Russ only failed to get 20 twice, and one of those was 19. So,
Russ gave Aaron a bit of a schooling on his first ETC game ever, but that was really good for him because he learned a And Aaron has turned out to be like one of our top scorers at the end of the game. Excellent. At the end of the thing. So brilliant. Yeah. The 2 people for us are brilliant.
What about you? Good.
I think the new guys, they struggled a bit, but we came up against the Danes, and obviously they're a brilliant team, and they really taught us a lot. Like being able to sit down with guys like that and have a chat afterwards, it really teaches you a lot. And I think we kind of picked up a little bit after that. But you really need experience here, and you need guys coming back, and from the other side of the world, it can be tough.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And what about the teams? Did you guys have many issues? I mean, the ETC gets some bad press for the game sometimes. I mean, Activist, did you have any issues?
Yeah, we had. I would say we had one gamey team. I won't say who they were.
Yeah.
And but that was a challenge for us on a couple of the tables in that round, and that was a bit hard. But outside of that, the other ones were okay. They were great. We played Bulgaria. They were awesome. Yeah. Right? And, England, of course, we played. I cannot believe 1 in 32 first round we got you again.
Yeah,
that was unreal. I mean, we didn't mind playing, but you didn't have to beat us so bad.
It's unfortunate because we'd seen your lists, we had a much better understanding when we came in, and then we applied our process to it.
And we knew that. I mean, and that's what happened last time, and we knew because our lists aren't net lists, so the difference is really simple. Net lists are net lists, right? Yeah. So what we found is, and the Swedes said this to us as well as you guys. It's quirky. There's a few little tricks that come out that's not it's a bit unusual. So we catch a couple of teams out in a couple of tables. But we played you guys. You guys looked at it and went, well, I won't let it happen again. And you got us on the second time round. So, had a great time. They were really good. Good games.
And from a New Zealand point of view, did you have any issues on the tables or not?
We had a couple of rough rounds, a little bit back and forth across the table. Again, we're not going to say who it is, but... Overall, we actually had a pretty good time, I think, and especially the new guys. I think they're expecting it to be really hard edge and really competitive, and everyone like stone. Yeah. But Warhammer's Warhammer, and it was really friendly, and I think the guys had a great time.
Excellent.
I mean, we miss Dave.
Yeah.
If he could come
captain,
back.
Yeah, Dave Grant.
Our old captain, Dave Grant. We miss him. Yeah. But I think there's going to be some guys step up, and it's going to be good for us in the future.
Yeah, I think that's the problem. And we warned, and this is what we said to one of the newbies, especially, right? So we had a couple of really tough games, and as I say, one round was quite gamey, and it was important that the new people understood just how that works.
Yeah.
Being tight, making sure that we're being very fair, they're being very fair, and unfortunately, that's the bad thing about the ETC. You can get a couple of games like that, but when you're playing to try and win, some people are like that, and I get it. But what you don't need is you just don't need a testy game. And we had a couple of tables where it wasn't working out. Lots of calls on the judges. That I say it doesn't happen a lot. Yeah. Really have a good time. So I'm not trying to say it's a negative thing you see. I'm just saying it happens, right? Of course, And to be honest,
would you say it's a cultural thing?
I think. Unfortunately, what I would say, based on what I'm seeing, is certain teams have this reputation. And again, I'm not sort of judging on people. People may think, what about our team? But at the end of the day, we try to be as fair as we can. It happens, and it can be a team stroke cultural thing. I don't know, but it could be.
Sure. Good.
I'd say for inexperienced players, if you're your first time at the ETC, don't be afraid to call a referee. You expect that other players here might be more experienced than you, but you might know the rules better than them. They might be trying to get one over on you. Don't be afraid to call someone over and just make sure that you're right or you're wrong.
Yeah.
And if you're wrong, you learn from it. If you're right, then you're getting one up on the other guy. You don't want to think about it that way, but you're not letting yourself be taken advantage of, and that's one of the new things that the new players they don't.
Yeah, that's it. Having that confidence, I suppose, as an individual. We've certainly considered that when we've been selecting people. Is what would these people be like against some of the teams that are renowned for this? Could they stand their own ground? Do they know the rules enough? And it is a thing of it aids your enjoyment slightly, because the last thing you want is to know you've lost a game on something that is incorrectly played, should we say? So yeah.
No, I think if you work it out with certain, and you just got to work it out. I mean, for me, all my 6 games and all the people I played against, I had a brilliant time. I had 2 really tough games. I would say really, really tough games, and that was the tough bit. And that's where I would say that's great. I mean, and we worked it all out. We worked it all out. I never had a problem. You're going to always in this game have a couple of decisions that can burst a game open, and you have to get the TO over if it's really something a bit dicey, or get the rules things. And to be honest, all the 6 guys I worked out with in my games, we all worked it out brilliant.
Good. Well, I mean, that's some of the more unsavoury things that dealt with. I mean, overall though, did you guys both enjoy it?
Loved it.
Yeah.
ETC is awesome.
The venue and the organisation this year was brilliant, amazing.
I've gone. This is my 3rd.
Yeah.
This venue, the organisation, the pack, the thing.
Yeah.
Stellar.
Brilliant.
Best one ever.
Excellent. And the main question, I guess, everyone wants to know: would you come again? Are you coming next year?
If I can get here, yes.
Yeah.
Again, we've got a weird selection process in Australia, but I'm going to be putting my hand up again if I can go.
Brilliant. What about New Zealand? Do they come in next year? Are you coming next year?
As long as the money allows, then I come back every year. But based on this year, if it was like this every year, I'd be here every time.
Brilliant. Good. Well, cheers for chatting to us, guys. It's been useful. And good luck in the awards ceremony on the final places.
Yeah, no worries.
Cheers. So I'm here just before the awards ceremony with 2 of Team Sweden, who we played in the last round, who ran us really, really close to the wire. My opponent, who battered me, and I got 0 points, so I don't know what to say about that.
I'm sorry for that.
No, you're not really, though.
No.
You'll take your 20 points. So how do you guys think you've done? I mean, you were actually, I posted on the forum, I thought you were my favourites for a top 3. So I was almost disappointed to have to play you in the last round. I wasn't, because I knew it would be good games. But how have you found the ETC? I know you were disappointed last year, weren't you, about being close?
Yeah. It's been a fun tournament. It always is. It can't go wrong.
Yeah.
How bad you go doesn't really matter. You will have a good experience. Of course, we're really disappointed this year because we think we have great players, and maybe we'll misjudge some armies. But I think we should probably have been able to do a lot better than we did.
Yeah. I mean, do you feel the same?
Yeah, I feel the same. I'm kind of disappointed that we didn't go better. But this is my first year playing.
Yeah.
So I was kind of nervous to do not perform, and the team will think, okay, I didn't fit in the team.
Yeah.
But for myself, I did quite good. I did what I should in almost every game.
Excellent.
So I'm happy for myself, but of course I would like the team to win.
Sure.
We were going for it.
Yeah. I mean, you did have some tough rounds as well, did you not?
Yeah, sure. I mean, you don't have a lot of easy rounds, especially if you're going to play the top 5 tables or the top 3 tables. You're going to play good opponents. And we knew this going into the round against Team England, that this is not going to... Getting 100 points from this, it's not going to be easy, because there's 8... We know of 8 good players, We know that you have 8 good players, so I mean, we need to just... It's all in.
Yeah.
And sometimes it doesn't work.
No, definitely not. What about the organisation as a whole, I suppose? Have you enjoyed the ETC? I mean, it's your first ETC. Playing good?
Yeah. I've been watching 2 years, but this is the best of the 3 venues I've ever been on. The only bad thing is the toilet, but
I agree.
Everything else is so... With these cards, with the timetable, and pretty good food. At least okay.
Yeah.
I got what I needed. And like cute girls in the bar.
Can't argue with that, can you?
Good beer, cheap beer.
Yeah.
So I like it. Cool in here.
Yeah.
Really good.
Yeah. Everything's been run really professionally, and also I really have to give a shout out for the coverage as well from the Heelanhammers.
Yeah. And Bad Dice, we've got to say, I've just been talking to the Bad Dice guys. Gareth has come over here particularly just to do media coverage, and I'm sure I'm looking forward to seeing the videos when I get back. There's been a lot on there.
Yeah, as you said, the Bad Dice also really good coverage, and you really need to have the good coverage, because just having the DTC as a closed tournament, that's not what you want. You want it to be open, like the team selection process, and maybe this new for this year in Sweden is that we had the DTC forum open for people who could apply. They can apply and can see the forum, and I think that it increases the interest of the whole spectacle, so to say.
Definitely. Just quickly before we hit the awards ceremony, then highlights from this weekend.
None for me, game-wise. But I mean, just the whole atmosphere, meeting people. It's just always great.
Good. And what about yourself?
I got one. It's a really good one. In the last game, I played a real nice guy, Heelan, from England. And he was rolling leadership 9 on his whole bunker with all characters and failed. I was kind of happy he was not, but it was a fun game. That's my highlight of this tournament.
I think it's a good highlight, to be honest. And you got a shirt to remember it by every time. Every time there's 20 points.
Will be on my wall. Dan Heelan made me 76 points at the EC. Thank you.
Made me happy.
Yeah, that's somehow that just takes, makes it feel so much better for me. So, definitely. Good. Well, cheers for joining us, guys, and best of luck in the final standings. Cheers.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're after the awards ceremony, and I'm with Niels, the German captain. You've got in your hand a very nice shiny trophy that says first place. So congratulations. Is this the first time you've had that in your hand?
Yes.
Yeah, it certainly looked like a lot of you were very, very happy about it, as I'm sure we would be if it was the same. How do you feel?
It's so enormous. It's absolutely fantastic. And now I get kissed by Chris Lack.
Genuinely, well done. Genuinely,
I would say the cheer at the awards ceremony was fantastic for you guys. We were all giving big shouts out. I mean, did it feel good to have everybody's appreciation of what you've done?
Sorry?
Did it feel good to have everybody's appreciation? I know there's a massive shout out at the awards ceremony. Yeah, I think you guys are very deserving winners and also very sporting winners, and I think that's why everybody was pleased to see you win.
I think, of course, we are quite happy to win this tournament, of course, but there are still the big 4 or 5, let's say, and it was very, very tight, and that we win that prize. So you can see, I think the top 4 or 5, so close. And
perfect.
It's golden.
It's got a golden dwarf on it. Which is what Niels has been playing. So, I mean, where do you go from here? Is a lot of the guys thinking of retiring, or are you going to be back for next year to defend it?
I think most of the team will stay. I think I will retire. So maybe for a non-playing coach or something. But I think I will retire for the next year.
It's always a question that I think everyone else asks themselves. You see it with the Danish team, quite a few of those guys, when they won it, decided to knock it on the head for a few years. It's quite an intense process, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Good. Well done. I mean, where do you go from here? Do you look to do the same thing again? Or, I mean, are the guys as fired up, do you think? Or will it be a case of trying to get some new people in?
Not steal my prize,
Chris Legg, Team England, is trying to steal it. He's Northern now, so we're joined by some of the other guys that with trophies in hand. So, so where do you go from here? Do you think everybody be as fired up next year to do as well?
I think there will be 1 or 2 drops, and we'll pick 1 or 2 new guys. But most of the team will stay if they want. Because it worked quite fine. We haven't expected that. We haven't expected such good results for every player. And it's such enormous with our Lizardman player. He made 84 points. So that's more than Jack Armstrong,
whose list he borrowed, should we say?
And we steal that.
We stole your demon list, so it's okay. And the vampires list after playing Felix, he played so well against me. We decided to borrow that one. So it was good. So individually, I mean, who do you think was your most valuable player? I know it's an 8-man team event, but was there anybody particular that stood out?
I cannot break it down to 1 or 2 players. Of course, Friedemann Walser, our demon player, made made up to 108 points.
Yeah.
Of course, he was our scorer.
Sure.
But I think all 8 players overall made their job, so that we made it to the first place.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, you need that. So that's great. Well, again, congratulations to you guys. I'm going to let you get on and celebrate. You got any good plans for tonight?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
We drink maybe 1 beer or 2.
A couple of beers. Yeah. I think we're looking to do the same. I gather most teams are. So,
we will go directly to the city center, I think.
Yeah.
We already have a meeting place discussed with the Polish guys, and it's directly into the city center.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I hope we will join us.
Yeah, we'll definitely be out. We're trying to find out from people where everyone's going, and we'll definitely be there. So yeah, it'd be great. Good. Well, congratulations, guys. As I said, we were certainly cheering you on through the event, and we're pleased that if we don't win it, that you did. So well done, guys. Cheers.
Thank you.
So I'm here post ceremony with a couple of guys of the American team. How did it go?
It went mediocre. Came in 8th.
Yeah, definitely middle of the road.
I mean, it was quite tight, as it wasn't in the top 10. I mean, we came 6th and we were gutted. We thought we'd be top 5. So it was quite tight. And you guys played some good opposition over the weekend, didn't you?
Yeah, we played Poland this morning, and we were on the 3rd row table, so we were tied for 6th.
Yeah.
And we got smashed.
Against Poland. Yeah. I mean, it's...
Poland did, I guess, is a thing, but
it's a verb.
We felt pretty good about our matchups and just didn't.
Did you find that was the sportsmanship all right? You know, how did the rounds go? Did it feel
against
like a good
Poland?
game?
It was great.
Yeah.
Everybody, by and large, there was one game against one team that was a fiasco, an actual fiasco.
Yeah.
Other than that, everybody was great.
I'll probably ask you off mic out of interest, but we'll leave that one out. So yeah, that's fine.
No, it was the Russian dwarf player.
Okay, I think that was well known by the referees.
He was
It was a. I believe he was called a cheater to his face.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You have to actually, if you can record Lee's story, that it will be the best recording you've ever done.
I'm going to go and find out. I know it was a known issue, should we say. The referees were well aware of that one. I know we had some issues when we played. So are you disappointed, happy? I mean,
we're happy with 8th. Happy with 8th. Our second best performance ever, and we had a much tougher draw this year.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. We had a very, very tough draw from day one. Our first pairing was Austria. We beat them.
Yeah.
Then we went.
They came second last year, so that's a good win. Yeah.
And then, we had tough draws the entire weekend.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I wish we'd done what England did and just lost big the first day and
bunny runned it.
Bunny runned it out.
Nice and steady. Yeah.
But no, we
played.
mean
like England?
I know.
Yeah,
that's exactly.
We
played Spain. We played Russia. We played Austria. We played Poland.
Yeah.
We played tough opposition, and we did very well against them.
Singapore beat England.
Yeah, no, we beat them, but it was minor, very minor. Right. They really surprised us. I think they surprised the Germans who didn't cap them either. Yeah. But it was between them and Sweden for our best opponents. You capped them, did you?
Yeah.
We capped them.
We voted best opponent.
Yeah, they were our second. They were our best. Yeah, Singapore. Yeah, we're joined by Nick Pym from TV.
Believe this. The guy on 19
language, Fanny from the show.
They went to him. Best sports. Singapore or England? You went England. Oh, it's beat 19-1. What are you on about? It's like, you're lovely.
Oh, well, there you go. Yeah, good.
The
first time you've ever heard that.
Yeah. Well, I won best sports from Wales.
That doesn't count.
Captain Englishman of all time. Come on!
So, anyways, Go.
Sorry, Dan.
So how do you guys say, in British English, how do you say drunk off his ass?
Off his face, I would have said was that's getting edited out as well.
Shandies.
So I mean, where do you guys go from here? Are you looking for a new process? You felt like you learnt a lot this year?
Yes, actually, I think this was probably the best process we ever had going into an ETC, and we had high hopes because it went so well. I think that, to be honest, we were probably overly committed to certain lists because we had players for it.
Yep.
And I think that if you have a good team and you have good players, sometimes when a list like Demons drops, you need to say who wants them. And whoever's willing to dump their list and shuffle the list around, you just need to trust that your players are skilled enough and can get in some practice games. That's the difficulty we have in the States, is we don't have tournaments every weekend, you know? So it's a monthly, bi-monthly thing. So you have to go well out of your way to get practice games.
Of course.
I mean, one of the things also was that we really didn't. We liked Demons a lot, but we just didn't think that the list was as strong.
No, we didn't see it. I thought when it initially came out, I was like, there's no way we're taking this to the ETC. Then I played against it a couple of times, and you start to realise the impact that Reign of Chaos
Well, something like
has.
Six Nations is a great testing round, and we don't have that. And our practice rounds happened to come before the Demon book became something and manifested, and we wound up being committed to certain armies. Some people were willing to switch, some people weren't, and so we figured, okay, you've been playing this list is on the bubble 8th, and we were torn between Hiles and Demons, and really it should have been Hiles and Demons, and we should have kicked something else off. But some of our changes were really positive. Our Night Bus did really well for VC, and we knew it could because
I was interested in seeing how that went. Yeah, it did go well.
Yeah, he got 80 something points.
And he blocked as well as Kritoris because no one really wants to face that list.
No.
So
it was the same, except they could kick into high gear and go smash something, which is really useful.
Vampires was one of our top scorers, I think, over the event.
Yeah,
It was a good list.
I mean, VC double death.
Yeah.
Leadership 10.
Under this
pretty safe. Yeah. And Empire got away with a lot, but our Empire list didn't quite maximize that.
Yeah.
Neither did ours, and I played it. It was. I think everybody was prepared for it, and they didn't want it, and people had counters to it. So,
Well, we didn't have cannons, so that might have been a good idea.
No, we had one, and it wasn't good. It wasn't good.
I mean, the Empire list just needs redundancy, and ours couldn't play the standoff game. He only had Magic, and Magic is, as we know, is fickle. So if we had cannons, if we had, I don't know, something to threaten in other phases so that you can stand back, I think it would have been a lot better.
I found that from my own list. I played the Empire, and I wished I'd taken the sort of list I took for the Six Nations, which was double banishment, double cannon, one demi unit, something that could sit off a little bit better.
The Heavens is nice if you're facing the other gun line, but you also want the light spam. You want that if you can ram Heavens in there, and I mean,
you can do both.
It's one of those.
It's beautiful.
You can kind of do everything. Yeah, exactly. So no reason to skip one.
No, definitely. So did you have would you say there was a most valuable player over the rounds, or was it everybody? I know it's a team event and you need all 8 to do well. But
I would say Lee Horn is our most valuable player.
Best
He's the Orc
general in the world.
You're calling it here. He beat here and now best Orc general in the world.
He beat the best Orc general in the world, right?
Thus taking his crown.
From Germany, right?
18-2.
18-2, so that makes him the best.
I mean,
that's just science.
It's good. I was going to ask you about the Orcs because it's one of the lists that I know we discussed when we spoke pre-event that I felt we were missing, but we didn't have.
We were missing Demons, you were missing Orcs.
Yeah.
And if we each had both, we would have rocked it.
I was looking at it, we were talking about it, Dark Elves, we took Dark Elves. I think we could have dropped them and taken Orcs. There was a few lists that we could have
Our Dark Elf list was better than yours.
I like the Dark Elf list a lot.
2+ Ward versus Magic makes that bunker
to be fair, it was the first thing
better.
when the list went in. It was the first thing I talked to Ben on the phone. He was like, "I missed that. We should have done it. We should have done it straight away. First thing on the list."
Huge asset. He did very well too. Our Orc player was just. Not only did he maximize his points and draw most of draw or better most of his games, it was also that he was a huge asset in the pairing. He has some vulnerabilities, but if you protect him, then he screws other armies. So that kind of you're damned one way is pretty good. And if he had too much, once we pulled out one of them, we could put him up and know that whatever else he took, he'd be fine again.
Of course.
And honestly, one of the best things about Orcs is that worst comes to worst, you pair him to Orcs. And he does, and it's a draw.
He sucks at the other bad match we had. It's a really big deal. Skaven were probably, they're great, but they're probably our main regret.
Sure. So, with what you've learned, I mean, how does this form the selection process next year? Do you think you keep a similar thing? Do you think there'll be a similar team? Are people still interested in coming next year?
I think it'll be an entirely new conversation for next year, mostly because, first of all, we have a couple people that are not going to be returning next year.
Is that through choice or financial restrictions or a bit both?
Both, and secondly, I think the nation as a whole now is interested in ETC. And there's a lot of different possibilities for how the team can be formed.
Sure.
So it's just a conversation that needs to be had intra-nation.
Yeah, of course.
I think that if a lot of the people here are interested next year, we'll have another really strong team. And a lot of lessons were learned. We had several first timers, and And it's the kind of thing we don't get the experience that other countries have here, and people don't understand how much knowing what the meta is in the ETC format means to taking an ETC team.
Yeah.
So having this year's experience really will help us out next year. I think people would be even more prepared from this team. Always, it comes down to work and finances.
Of course,
I think that's the main ingredient for a U.S. team. So hard to tell.
I mean, France is a lot easier to sell to a girlfriend.
France is a big selling point. So.
How much do you place experience on the list of qualities needed for an ETC candidate for the team?
Experience in an ETC setting?
Yeah.
I think it's huge.
Yeah, I think it's the most important thing.
Yeah.
Getting pairings right. Our pairings were great this year, and even Poland said they were 50-50 on the pairings, but they're excellent players. So that seems to be their general idea. Is like, we'll 50-50 the pairings and crush in gameplay. But a few of our games could have gone really differently, and that's the best country, one of the best countries
More
in the world.
importantly, look at it. He stole my American Aviators, and they're on there. Look at this.
There's Ben Johnson looking like he's in Kojak.
And he took a selfie.
Look, just climb up him and take him back.
I'll tell you what, there's so we've got Ben Johnson with a pair of shades that have got an American flag on the front of it.
Yes, they do.
That's worth stealing.
It's like everything else we own.
I'll tell you what, you guys, add something, for me, you guys add something to the spectacle. I mean, USA is a big thing. I think, like, as a Western country, England, the way I see it anyway, is allies in a lot of things in the world, and it's always good to have you guys here. But
he said we're swapping. I got glasses with Fluck. I don't want to swap.
But it's
their head is too big.
They're glued with DNA.
They are. If only I had a camera.
So how do you say drunk off your ass in British?
Exactly. I've edited it out once. I can't do it again. I think you guys add something, and everybody appreciates the USA for what it is, and you guys play on that. With the big yells before the game. I can't pronounce it because I can't reiterate what you say because it's a family show. But before the rounds, and the fact that you come in with the flags and everything's USA, it's brilliant.
It's tacky, but it's exactly what people hate and love about the United States. That's what we're going for.
I think they hate it when it's done in a way very like in your face way. I think the way that we do it is very good natured.
Yeah, it's kind of comical.
And the people who mind honestly haven't faced us or haven't talked to us.
You know what the thing is? People think we mean it, and we don't at all. And
we're doing it because it's a bit of fun.
We certainly get that impression being here, but it's quite fun. We really hoped we were going to play you in the last round because you were on a similar thing, and then we were going to do the shout as well, but it didn't quite happen. So, it would have been good fun.
I mean, we had a couple of opponents who wanted to join in on our circle. But we kicked them out.
So to explain this, you guys sort of get into a huddle, you shout like America, and then you kind of swear from a well-known film.
So it's USA, 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 and then we have our weediest guy shout America in his squeaky voice, and then we say F yeah. And it reverberates throughout the room, and you can actually hear other teams laugh at it. And some teams are just like,
it's great. I love it. Because you get
a couple of teams copied it this year. Denmark and Spain.
Yeah, but we got it down.
You're definitely the loudest, definitely the best. Did you find? How did you feel when you went up for the awards? Did you hear everyone chanting USA, USA as you went up?
Yeah, and like one boo. Where was the boo coming?
I didn't hear any.
You guys got booed too, like by one guy.
One that I can understand.
One disgruntled in the crowd. No, but it was great. We really felt it.
No, I didn't hear anybody boo you. From where we were obviously chanting USA. We love that kind of stuff here in England. So.
Denmark was chanting, which we were thrilled by because those
guys are hammered, bro. That's it, Heelan.
I think there's a lot of people hammered, to be fair. I'm surprised I'm doing this interview.
And the awards just finished.
He's just like, Americans need to invent the sport, play the world at the sport, and then they can be like, we're good at the sport.
Is he talking the World Series? Is he giving it that on?
This is on the brink of being edited to death.
But like he also says, the Olympics don't count. It's a sport.
The Olympics don't count.
Oh, perfect.
No, well, thanks for that official ruling.
Former Olympian Leggy.
Because the Americans are good at the Olympics. I said, medal count. He goes, no. Sorry, Heelan.
So, no, it's fine. So, Larry, while you're here, we'll talk about this. These guys saying that your VC list did really well. I mean, Leggy was one of our top scorers, so good.
It was our orcs got 82. He was number one. I got 81. But our team finished 8th. So we were all pretty good across the board. I got 2 20s, 2 10s, a 12, and a 9. So nothing bad. It did what I said it would do. It won 2 games big. and it played otherwise like Mets. So,
sure.
you know, it didn't hurt that we went risky.
No.
I think like you got, I think also around 80.
Yeah,
right?
he did really well. Yeah. I mean, he had a couple of good ones.
It didn't hurt us. That wasn't the problem.
No.
It's like people take VC to get the draw at the minimum, and our list definitely did that.
And then potentially slam.
And I think the bus does that in a way.
Leggy got some really big wins in places when we delivered him in the right matchup.
Yeah, he gets the right match. You can kill it. So it was.
The Crypt Horrors have a lot of weaknesses that the bus doesn't.
Hey, look, I got a 20 against Poland. That's all that matters.
That's it.
That has to be on the podcast.
You can get that on a tattoo. It would definitely work. And it's been your first ECC, so how did you find it?
My first one? Oh, it was great. It was better than I even thought it could be. It was a lot of fun. Meeting everybody. You know, just like Leggy and Tom and all you guys. You know, Russ.
Sure.
All the guys that I talked to, and then also like Litter and those guys are here. You hear about them, but you never meet them. It's good to put a name to the face.
And I think in Larry's case, it's important because he trolls so much on the internet.
I love your posts.
To put a face to the actual to the name.
Sure, I mean, I got along great with everybody.
People don't realize that how blustery he is when he's posting.
I like it on the Warhammer Forum. I mean, I've been recently made moderator, so it's a little bit
wonderful!
of a,
Congratulations!
Yeah, well, I don't know if this is congratulations.
So then, is that going on your resume?
No, it's not.
More importantly, you know, I've never been banned on TWF because even though my posts allegedly are like infuriating or they're inflammatory, I've never been banned. It's the retaliations, the people that go nuts. You have the power to be the first to ban me.
I don't want to because I kind of agree, but I think you just say it blunter than most English people feel like saying. Like you know, you're a chump.
But I don't usually butt heads with too many English people.
No. So. Because I think the majority agree with you. You know, when people are talking about this experience and this experience against certain players.
Oh, come here, wait.
Ben Curry's here. Ben Curry's he can't help it. You know, he loves it.
What's up, Curry?
I didn't know. I come to ask you where you're going for drinks.
Yeah. That was.
And then I realised you don't need any more drinks. Look at your face. You're done. Curry, you're hammered.
No, we're going for drinks.
Okay, of course.
So we'll find out. I know. I was speaking to the Germans a minute ago. A lot of people going.
Yeah.
How did you do well?
No.
Okay.
I don't know. It's 61
How did you do?
Badly. I took four out of the 6 were Reds for me. I'm very, very disappointed that 2 of the Reds. I haven't lost more than 5 in the last 4 years, and I got 20-0'd in the last 2 games.
Wow.
One was very, very well. Both were very, very bad luck, but
to be fair to Dan,
I was losing.
He took 2 bad matches in 2 rounds, and it was in the last 4.
And play by Dan, yes?
Yeah.
Okay. We ended up with 3 good matches for Dan. Like Dan just don't lose 20, and
it didn't quite happen.
It went really bad.
I mean, we got the reverses.
You have to do that.
Yeah, but we've talked about this. With more experience, they could have been 5, 6, 7s, and that makes all the difference.
Oh, sure.
It's a bit of a shame. But.
We had 2 games that were similar. Our Bretonians against Malta, actually, or rather round 2. He was in good shape. It was bottom 6, and he had a lance left. And it got charged by Beast and Nurgle. The guy goes Blades of Ibon, Plague of Rust with level 2 Herald guy, and then charges, kills a bunch of them, breaks them. He one-shotted his lord with 1 Beast of Nurgle. Killed the Bretonian Duke.
See, that's pretty impressive.
I mean, breaks them, kills them, they're gone. And then also, 1 Pegasus hero was fighting 3 what are they? Horrors.
Yeah.
For like 3 turns. He just couldn't melt them. So that was,
sometimes things turn.
It happens.
That game
and
turned.
More importantly, against Poland, we had a shot. I got a 20, and our Dark Elf player next to me was like in the 16 range. Shooting the crap out of their Savage Orc bunker, and it's coming. And there was a weird closing the door situation where the overrun, he held with a unit which he didn't know how it was going to close. And it closed funnily and allowed an overrun into the bunker with
the points.
Where he thought it was fine because he had a BSB, he had another peg hero and 2 assassins.
No, but he could have fled.
Yeah, sure.
Stand and shoot. And there was only 3 savages left.
Right.
Dropped the savages.
He thought it was fine. He thought he
kill
could do
all
it, but
of the characters. It didn't happen. So,
we had a few like that actually. I mean, to go through some points, we had one where our main, the person we were trying to deliver into all the ratchets, who's just joined us now. We had the saying "In Veal we trust." Our Warriors player Russ Veal. Our plan was to deliver him into the Smash matchups. We had a Smash it. And your results were what?
20, 20, 20,
19, 2 and 11.
Yeah. So it's pretty good, and
Clap it up for Russ.
he did his job for the team, and but in that 11, I was just describing, the kind of things that the games hinge on. You turned your level 3 into a demon prince, didn't you? And it cost you the game.
My disc hero turned a demon prince, which let his bunker with his assassin and 2 death snipes free to reform, kill my actual demon prince. And then the assassin was running around, kill my BSB, and obviously you count as dying, so I lost my hero as well. Yeah. So it's about 1,000 points I lost because of that.
Yeah.
There you go. And the 2 was against demons, which I didn't want to play.
Yeah. So it's a very.
Kills his general demon prince, and then
everyone
else. let's just win that one again because Russ glossed over it a little bit quick.
He was translating into American English.
Yeah. So Russ charged the unit, pinned it in place with his hero, exalted hero,
and chart in the front to stop him reforming.
So 2 units, one inside, one in the front.
It's great.
He challenges with the assassin. The hero kills the assassin in the combat and turns himself into a demon prince. So the demon prince is dead. He counts as being killed. The demon prince can't be placed into the combat, so it has to be placed outside the combat. And then the Dark Elf block can just turn around. 2 death snipes, rending stars, kills the demon prince that was spawned. It kills the original demon prince out of the list as well, and just went mental, to be honest. And he turned a 20 into an 11 to us.
Yeah, and it's these kind of things that I think count for the caps. We look at that last round. We were 4 points off 4th place, I believe, and we had a slam drop down a hole in the last dice of the game. We had my bunker, which is worth at least 5 tournament points, re-rollable 9 running off. It's like small dice rolls, single dice rolls, but that makes a difference.
That same Dark Elf game, which would have turned we got a 54 against Poland, it would have been a 74, which is still not great, but that would have put us up there.
Of course.
He gets charged by the Savage Orcs. He gets a purple sun off that can go across the entire line of the Savage Orcs. There's only 3 Savage Orcs left. He can get all the characters, and we know Orcs only have like 2. And all the 3 Savage Orcs misfires. So little moments like this turn like a 20 in your favor into a 0.
Yeah, it's bizarre, isn't it?
Yes.
It's bizarre. But did you enjoy yourself this weekend overall?
Yeah, definitely. This is my 3rd ETC. I love them all.
Yeah, good. And you'll be back next year? Money, time permitting?
We'll see. If I come back next year, I'd like to play. This year at graduate school, I couldn't get the time in to practice and get everything ready to play. We'll see.
Were you non-playing?
I was non-playing captain. And it's great. I like telling people what to do.
You like it, yeah.
But we'll see what happens next year.
Good. Okay. Well, thanks for talking to us.
Thank you so much.
I'm glad you guys did, reasonable. I'm sure you're not quite as happy. I'm sure everybody wouldn't be, but top 10 again. It's a good result.
Yeah, it's fine. Brilliant. I think. Hopefully next year will improve.
Yeah, I'm sure you will. And you were there, and that's the important thing. We felt that certainly in 2010 when we were there. Although we didn't get the result we desired, we were in with the chance. A win on the last row would have put us on the podium, a bit like this year and a bit like last year. So I think that's the key. As long as you're there or thereabouts, that's where you want to be, isn't it?
Yes. In the last rounds, round 5, we had a chance. We got Poland. We lost.
Yeah.
It happens. But until that, we were competing.
Yeah, of course.
That feels good. Feels great.
Good. Well, hopefully I'll see you guys next year, and I really appreciate you coming to chat to me.
Thank you so much.
Okay, guys. Well, I hope you enjoyed the show. Lots to think about there, and hopefully we've got a lot of different viewpoints for you. I know we managed to speak to quite a few different people from different countries there, and hopefully you've enjoyed it. So give us your feedback. Dan at Heelanhammer.com, Wayne at Heelanhammer.com. You can get us on Twitter at WayneKemp13 and at Heelanhammer. Make sure to check out our sponsors, oggames.co.uk. Unfortunately, they've stopped selling Games Workshop products. Games Workshop have restricted their terms a little bit too much. They don't want to rush getting a bricks and mortar store. They're quite happy with their online arrangement, but Games Workshop are changing the terms slightly. It makes it a hard trading environment for them. But if you still, all your hobby stuff like your magnets and all the other stuff that are big sellers with them, if you're into your Magic the Gathering, all that kind of stuff, make sure.
Big range of board games. They do.
Board games.
Massive.
Yeah.
Pretty much everything else you need.
Yeah, so get up there, get all your stuff from them, which is great. Again, if you like the show, make sure you see us on iTunes for pop us a 5-star review if you feel that way. If you don't feel that way, don't review us. It just helps us move up the charts. We've got a big announcement coming in the coming weeks, which will just be a show on its own for about 10 minutes. So keep an eye out for that one. The next show is going to be all about Lizardmen, our initial thoughts. We might have a guest on. Myself and Wayne are playing some games. Wayne's been painting some men, some lizards, we should say. Now, we're not going to talk about that on this show today because of the length of the show. Hopefully, you guys have been pumped full of Warhammer information, so I look forward to regaling you all with what we've been up to in our next Beardy Weirdy week. That's about it for now. Make sure you join the Saucy section. There's some interviews, and I'm going to be doing some probably some solo bits as well for the Saucy, just talking about some of the more in-depth things about how my list went, some thoughts on how to play at ETC and all these kind of things. For those of you that care about that, you get the choice to listen if you want on a Saucy show, so make sure you're a member of that. And there's going to be loads of stuff. I've got so many things I want to talk about on mic at the moment, and so little time to record them all, so but we will get to them, and the shows are going to be coming out thick and fast and regular, so hopefully you've enjoyed this, guys. Wayne, anything else you want to say?
No, I've managed to keep a smile on my face for this. It sounds like because normally ETC, I've got a bit of downer on it, haven't I? Even though I've never been.
Yeah.
I just kind of, to me, it kind of embodies everything that Warhammer shouldn't be. But it sounds like you had a really, really good time. So, yeah.
Yeah, in fairness, it does get a lot of bad press, and I think we've been guilty of the Warhammer media of covering too much of the negative, full-on gaming thing when there's so much else that goes on at the event. This is just great.
But it just sounds like the whole weekend the organisers made it as enjoyable as possible, and
yeah.
I actually, hearing you talk about it, I was thinking, I'd actually really like, just as a spectator, obviously, there's no team's going to take me on, but just to go and I think it'd actually be more enjoyable.
Well, they have
just being there and just taking it all in.
They have a singles event on the 2 days before, on the Wednesday and Thursday as well, that people can play if they don't want to play in the team event, but they just want to get some games out in Europe. So, there's a lot of other things. But yeah, the unsavoury things do get a little bit too much thing, and hopefully I've avoided talking about those too much, and you get a bit more of a positive impression. But I would recommend it to anybody if they get a chance. But I would also say it's not for everybody necessarily. But if you can ever get out there as a spectator, it's brilliant. And that reminds me, I just want to say thanks to everybody I spoke to who come up to me and talked to me about the show. It's always really, really appreciated, and your comments are really welcome, so thank you very much. Okay, let's get out of here, Wayne, and we'll record and see you guys again very shortly.
Bye-bye.
Bye.